Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 45th session of the Devouring Dark. It is very early in the morning for most of us, earlier in the day for the rest of us. So, different time of day, a different day in general. So, we'll see how this goes.
You'll see who hit the desk first.
Alright, so since it's pretty much a day since we or not even a day, since we last were together, a little bit less of a recap. You killed the monster, you flew on giant eagles with a corpse of one of your companions, and you got back to the castle. You got to this castle, um, and met this very interesting character who could magically summon things out of nowhere, just seemingly at will. And he provided you guys with a feast, and Edo-san kind of got on his nerves. Uh, Conflicting personalities there.
As
Uh,
always.
yeah, and he sort of pulled the rest of you into a different room. And actually, that's where we're going to pick up. So,
Before we go any further, I'm curious, is our corpse friend still being moved around by the wind?
he is actually pulled into the different room, so your character
Oh,
doesn't know.
okay.
So he pulled the three of them, including the corpse, into a different room. So that's where we're picking up, actually. The other three actually know what's happening in the room. Erosan, you're still in the room with the feast table. There's still some Aarakocra just hanging around, doing whatever it is that they're doing, eating the rest of whatever's left, or just hanging around talking to each other. So you're in this room. When he pulled them away, you realized that there was a door on the wall, and he just opened the door and threw those guys in and closed the door behind him. So,
I'm not even gonna push my luck, I'm just gonna stay and just start uh, drawing out the room he's currently in.
okay. So they're in there for a little while. Um, you complete the room, at least a general sketch. You can fill in the shading and everything later if you want, but you have the general sketch outline of the room. You even go so far as to draw some empty plates and some with food on them still, and some of the Aarakocra just hanging around with their armor on. You're still just sitting in this room.
So then Narison just starts, gets his notebook out and starts comparing things together, like, no, this is not there, this is not there, this should be here, this should be there, just making sure everything is in the right place, right thing, and maybe adjust some calculations he was making.
Alright. Okay. So, from the room, you hear the room that you are not in. You hear laughter. You hear various different things happening within that room, like thudding around, various other noises that you are unsure about.
Well, I was understanding it, but if it gets too much, he just reaches into his bag of holding and puts on some earmuffs,
Okay,
just so he can keep working.
okay, sure. Um,
He trusted Jinjin to be not like killing them.
okay. Um, DT is sort of just hanging around in the room. He's just sort of standing there, looking, examining things. Um, oh, there's two Lonnies now. Um,
Oh no.
um, Yeah, he's just sort of examining things, like getting like vital information just in case things decide to attack him that are in the room. He's just sort of scanning things, seeing like different properties, like see if there's any weak points he can ascertain. He's just sort of looking around, focusing on different things.
Yeah, kind of what it would be doing to make sure that I will be alive if
Okay.
things go south.
So you just hear him in the background of you, just of his eyes moving and his head turning back and forth. But other than that, he doesn't really do anything. Um, let's see.
Well, the occasional movement, making sure that he isn't like getting joints rusted or parts need to be replaced, informing Arson if that were the case.
Yeah, he seems in good condition. It's just regular noises that he makes. It's not that loud or anything. Um, let's see. So,
So Arson sits there with the earmuffs on, just working in his notebook.
all right. Um, you suddenly hear, and suddenly you are pushed forward onto the table through wind.
So I was like, "What? Okay, that's
Yeah,
expected." Takes
you're
the
sort of
earmuffs
like
up,
laying
put them
back
in
on the
back.
table.
So Arson slowly gets up, closes his notebook, put it in the bag of holding, put the earmuffs in the bag of holding, and gets up to check out what might be going on in the room and knocks on the door.
All right, so as you begin to get up, the genie bursts open the door and goes, "Ugh!" And he shoves everything that's in the room, including the table, out of the room through those big double doors, including the people that are in the room. He just shoves them all out of the room, not hurting them or anything, and including you and DT go flying out of the room as a huge gust of wind happens, and you land in the lobby area, and he shuts the door using wind. This
Oh
is
yeah,
from
as
what
he's
happened
flying,
last time.
DT just tries to encapsulate around Alson, making sure that he takes the least amount of damage, and once they're like in a standstill, he lets him go. And Alson sits up and goes like, "Okay, as expected. Did you guys do something that made him like unamused?"
Uh, he he shoved everybody out of the room. So there's a big pile of Aarakocra just laying on the floor, and you're pretty close to them. And DT is just sort of laying on the floor because he was heavier, so he didn't go as far. Um, so he's just sort of laying on the floor outside of the room, and the doors are closed.
So Alson gets up and starts helping the Akros get up.
Yeah, you start helping them, and they start helping each other, of course, and they start cawing at each other, but you don't really understand what they're saying. Um, and a couple of them go with their cawing laugh. But otherwise, nothing uh, of note happens for another couple of minutes as you see the genie come out of the room and close the doors behind him. And he looks at the rest of them. One of them, the Aarakocra, and one of them starts cawing at him. And he says, "What? I just wanted to clear the room quickly."
Well, that you sure did.
And the tables disappeared as they were flying out of the room. It seems like he magically just de-summoned them as he was flying them out of the room. So he he's sort of just standing there now, and he sort of looks back at the door for a bit, and then he looks back at the huge mess that he created, and he doesn't seem phased by it at all.
Expectedly a bit. Erson sees that, so Erson goes like, "So, what happened to my friends?"
Oh, they're fine. I just made some beds for them.
Well, okay.
you're not getting to bed if that's what you were hoping for.
Oh, no. I usually take all-nighters. Not that I really need a bed as well.
Yeah. Good then. And he sort of starts looking back at the door, and he's like, he opens the door a little bit, and he starts talking into the room, saying, "Are you sure? Like, what do you mean?" And then he closes the door again, and he looks back, and he says, "It seems that the little one wants a bunch of people in the room."
I've no clue. That's her idea, I guess, but I don't know
Alright, get
why
out
she
of the
would want
way.
it.
And he pushes you out of the way, and he starts filing Aarakocra into the room.
So, so just watches that stands by DT. That he just waits and not sure what to do or why Lily would want that, but
Alright, so the room is filled with them. He closes the door. A couple of seconds later, he goes, and he sort of puts his hand on the back of DT, opens the door, and shoves DT into the room and closes the door.
but that's mine.
And then he sits there for another couple seconds, and he goes, "Fine, you get to go in the room too." And he picks you up, and then he opens the door, and then he throws you into the room
Oh,
and
no.
closes the door. Now that
Try
you're,
and land on my feet.
you can try to land on your feet with a dex save.
That's where did it go? Thank God I just took that feat then. A 15.
So you actually managed to land somewhat on your feet, though you weren't expecting it. So you sort of use your hands to stumble back up onto your feet. And in the room is a bunch of Aarakocra, and each of them have very flamboyant beds at this point. And DT is just sort of standing there, looking around, confused. And now you have a bed if you want. And the genie didn't see fit to explain any of that to you. The corpse is also in its own bed, sort of just tucked in nicely. And Lily and Alatar
Okay.
are in their respective beds already, it
So
seems.
I was not
Except
start.
maybe Alatar, he's just sort of sitting on his bed, but I'm
Could
not
I
sure.
have wished or whatever for like a nice fancy bed instead of
Yeah, you could have. Well, his beds that he summoned for you were pretty fancy in the first place.
Oh, okay.
Um, so, yeah, that has already happened. Yeah, the beds are not uh, mediocre in any way. Mediocre is not a word that you could use to describe them in any way.
No, certainly the genie, especially not him, because he's not mediocre in any sense.
Yeah. So he filled this audience hall with beds at this point.
So yeah,
Because
I was
Lily
trying.
wanted a bunch of people to be in this room. It seemed like a waste. So it's basically a sleepover in this room. Even though most of the
Also
people in
starts
the room.
making his way over to Lily and asks, "So what is going on?"
Go ahead.
Can you repeat that?
So I also asked to Lily what was going on.
Oh yeah, so this guy came and then like his magic wiggly fingers stuck kinda like me, but also kinda like everybody else here, and I don't know, just going with it.
Okay, maybe try and invite him to the sleepover, I guess.
Hey Mr. Genie guy, are you tired? Because I'm tired too, I would like to go to bed.
He comes. He opens the door and he says, "Well, I have my own chambers, but if you really would like me here.
I miss you.
He sort of glances back, and then he looks into the room and he says, "Fine, I can easily move my bed anyway." And he bursts open the doors and he closes them again. And he summons where his throne is. His throne just magically disappears. And a huge bed that is just obtusely large, that takes up the entirety of where the throne sits, like the huge platform. The bed just takes up the entire thing, and he just his legs turn into a swirl of whirlwind, and he just flies over everybody, and he just lands on the bed, and his legs come back, and he sits on the bed, and he's like, "Fine, I'm here, just as everyone wanted, right? Ha ha ha!"
Yay!
Hooray! As I say that he tries to carefully get to his bed, because things are getting more mad than he expected.
You actually examine your bed a little bit, and it actually has a carving in the wood of the headboard of your name in it.
Dang.
So I also starts looking around just out of pure curiosity. Is there one with the letters D and T?
Yes, there is.
So that son says, I guess that one is for you, buddy.
DT sort of uses his eyes to focus in on it, and he looks at you and he tilts his head to the side, sort of confused.
Wait, don't look at me like that, because I'm as confused as you.
He looks at the thing and he just nonchalantly climbs into the bed and just sits there. And surprisingly, the bed is holding his weight.
The bed is holding DT.
Yes.
Fancy.
More. What?
Like,
Fancy.
it's not breaking or anything. Even though he's quite heavy, so.
Yeah. I mean, it's a giant construct, so kind of amazing that the bed isn't like already going snap in the middle.
Yeah, so these things are pretty well constructed.
So also just lays down in his own bed and says, well, I guess good night.
Yes, good sleep to all.
And to all a good night.
Alright. Alatar have anything to say, or is he already sleeping?
Nah, I'm already sleeping. I'm good.
Alright, yeah. So he's already asleep. The Aarakocra are kind of looking around, but they seem like they're used to this sort of thing. I mean, they're around this guy all the time. So, yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't they by now?
Yeah, they're around this guy all the time. They're used to weird things happening. So a couple of them climb into the beds. A couple of them remain awake, seemingly because of their militaristic training. They're gonna sort of guard the room if need be. And they're probably gonna take shifts of sleeping. But either way, you guys can take your long rest if you wish.
Well, I just forgot to add a spell I can add, cause level 8.
Yeah, Lonnie and James, did you guys level up to 8?
I did.
And James?
No, I forgot.
Okay. You can probably just do it while we play now then.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
too much to do.
Yeah, and if he needs help, you can just message Ben. I'm pretty sure he has access to Alatar's sheet.
Yeah.
So, if you need help, he can grab
Okay.
things for you or whatnot. So.
Basically, you can pick 1 feat and +2 to any ability, or you can take 2 feats. So that's the big decision, really.
Okay. Cool.
And any other abilities he gets from leveling up, just make sure he gets those. But either way, in the middle of the night, I wasn't sure if we were going to do this or not. Let's see. I'm just going to message Ben.
Don't do it, Matt. Don't do it.
Okay.
Well, he does have to pass the detection system called DT. If he tries anything.
Something is going to happen in the middle of the night, but you're not sure what it is, so just give me a second.
Two, three, four.
Yeah, I'm at this point. Because it's something involving his character.
That's pretty important because we don't want to have all of a sudden a blown up toad in the middle of the room.
Okay. I like that idea. So, in the middle of the night, your guys' beds are close to the corpse, at least close enough so that way you can perceive this. You hear
Oh.
coming from the corpse.
We can assume that that's Ben's character coming back, right?
Well, you can look at him if you want. See what's going
Yeah,
on.
so
Okay.
also gets up. Well, since he doesn't really need that much sleep, so cause stress, but he gets up and holds his gun and gives it a light poke to the corpse and then backs up quickly.
Yeah, as you're approaching the corpse, before you even poke it, you see that it is relatively violently shaking back and forth. It doesn't seem like it's reviving. It seems like something is happening to it that's moving it back and forth.
So also just watches and he goes like, "The genie said it would be okay. The genie said it would be okay. He said it would be okay."
So if the other two want to see what's happening, you can be awake long enough, and I'll say that it doesn't interrupt your rest if you want to see this, what happens.
Yeah, I'm curious.
So
Yeah, me too.
Just keeps getting closer and then eventually pokes it very slowly.
Alright, so you poke it, and it shakes a little bit more violently when you poke it, and then it keeps shaking back and forth regularly.
Okay, this is not very good.
It's better than being dead. I'm moving.
So this time, instead of light, he pokes it normally, and if it's still going, then a bit heavier.
Alright, its bloated stomach from all the food rips open, and you see green slatty claws clawing out from inside.
So Asa just jumps back and hides behind DT like, okay, didn't expect that.
Alright, you see the claws coming out, and now what I'm going to say is, Goroth, you perceive that you were in a dark place, and you felt like you were being held in place tightly, suddenly. So then you started struggling, which is what the violent shaking was, and then you finally managed to get your claws through. So now you can choose what you want to do from this point.
You're
So
still
I'll just keep going through my own skin then. Till I'm
Right.
completely out.
Alright, so you manage to dig through, you pull your head out violently, and everybody witnesses as he pulls his head out through the bloated stomach.
Yeah, DT is just standing there ready to smash if he gets too close or tries anything.
Alright, so you see him pull his head out through. Now you can just continue to pull yourself out, I guess. It's as if he's coming out of something that's a bit bigger of a space than his own body, but It's working.
Obviously.
So yeah, once I get completely through, I just pick up the skin that's left and take back my equipment and put it on the new me.
Yeah. He came out without any clothing or anything, but now he
Obviously.
just starts equipping the other stuff onto him.
Taking the staff.
Yeah. Takes all his
Ew.
equipment.
Ew.
Yep, so you just watch him nonchalantly just picking all this stuff up.
Yeah. Arizona is just loading his gun, like real slow, and slowly walks up to him, then pokes him with the gun. You still the same guy?
Don't I look the same?
Yeah, he looks perfectly the same.
You might look the same, but who says you're still the same?
Actually, he looks relatively unblemished. Like, no injuries from the other body had from
Yeah,
that
I
fight.
don't mean
or
that.
anything.
I mean like,
A bit less wrinkles and stuff.
yeah, I mean more like in personality. That way still the same.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just giving you the idea. Like, physically, he looks in peak condition. But you don't know about his mind. You'll have to find that out by interacting with him.
So yeah, what was your question again?
So, do you still are the same person? Gun pointed at you, loaded.
Yeah, that's the one I answered. Don't I look the same?
I mean more like in the mind.
In the mind?
Yeah.
I
Are
mean,
you still as annoying?
what day is it today?
Well, I guess the next day after you died, I guess.
Oh, that's not too bad. It usually takes longer.
Hey guys, can you keep it down?
You lagged out a little bit. We didn't understand what you said.
Yeah, I
Hey,
know what
guys.
she said.
It's
about.
okay, we'll continue
Quiet.
talking like this, and I send message to our son. You can speak freely, like I'm just speaking to your mind now. You can speak freely to me like this.
So Arthur goes like, "Are you still the same guy that is annoying as hell?"
I mean, I don't believe I ever was annoying as hell, so I'm
Okay,
afraid.
you're still the same. Oh
The
yeah,
genie is just snoring away loudly.
yeah. So Arthur just says,
And
"Oh
who's
yeah,
that? I say
Our-
in your mind.
yeah." That is our friend, the genie who actually saved us from falling down into the deep, deep depths of this plane. And a small status update on our spinning friend. He's back to normal.
Also, you're answering me with just thoughts, or are you like
Yeah.
speaking? Okay.
Just thought that so he's going. Russell just saying everything that has been happening a little bit.
Interesting. Well, it's the first time I've ever been to 3 planes in a day.
Well, well, that's true. I mean, you did come from what was it called? Limbo?
From the material plane. That's where
Oh, the one before that.
Oh, yeah. Before that, that was Limbo.
Yeah, Limbo. So then you came from Limbo, went to material, went to the elemental plane of air. So yeah, here we are, sleeping with a
Well, I
genie.
don't see you sleeping.
Yeah, I'm elf. We take half as long as others.
So why were you saying you were sleeping then?
You say it right. We're sleeping.
I don't see you sleeping.
Because I was sleeping.
I thought you just said you didn't sleep. You're confusing. But anyways,
do.
it takes a lot of me doing this, so I'm gonna rest.
Yeah, that's a good thing. So Arson just sits on bed since he doesn't really need that much sleep, and then just starts working in his notebook once again, adding more notes, removing notes, adjusting notes.
I start rolling up, going from the feet, and start rolling up my skin and putting it in my backpack.
Okay. It's in your backpack.
Just
You
put
can-
down your own name and then skin.
Yeah, you can put whatever you want, but it is your former body, basically.
What could that?
And also, when you were in the dark place, you do have a vivid memory of feeling extremely happy for a while. So you're not sure what that's about, but when they were talking about a genie, perhaps that's something to do with it.
I'll just lay down because I'm exhausted.
Alright, fair enough. So, you technically don't need a long rest, but I'll say that for thematic sake that you take a rest for the rest of the time that everybody else is resting, and that should be good enough for what you're trying to do it for. So, everybody finishes their long rest, and technically that's when you would have leveled up to 8. So, either way, you guys awaken, and
Ding.
pretty much. You awaken pretty much at the exact same time. Well, because everybody else starts stirring awake, and then it disturbs you from your sleep if you're still sleeping. So everybody is awake at this point.
Yeah. So they just see Arson working in his notebook, like
Fair
he's
enough.
just sitting there working.
The genie is still asleep. He's the only person who hasn't awakened yet.
I wonder what that creature is thinking. What happened yesterday? Do any of you know?
Well, I explain that to you yet? What happened? Maybe a big bounce, but still, you should have got the basic grasp of it, right?
Yeah, I was aware we were in the plane of air.
So yeah, we were rescued by eagles. We got here. We met the genie. We had a bit of fun. We had a bit of a chit chat. We had a bit of this and that, the basic stuff.
Yeah, when you were rolling up your corpse, you noticed that there was like weird food stuffs in it. So
I
that
taste some of it.
yeah, you put your finger on it. Some of it tastes like cake.
Strange. I'm gonna try to. Sure. I'm just gonna cast detect thoughts to see what the genie is thinking right now when he's sleeping.
All right.
The moment he does that, he hears, "Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out! Get out!"
Not quite. You hear, as soon as you attempt to detect his surface thoughts, you hear, "Stop trying to wake me up. I'm trying to sleep. Get out of here."
Do you mean me? Like I send a message to him?
And you see his body stir up a little bit, and he looks at you and he goes, "Yes, you." And then he goes back to sleep.
My apologies. I was just curious what happened while I was out.
He sighs heavily and he decides to get up. And he stands next to the bed. He waves his hand next to the bed. The bed vanishes, and the throne appears again. And he sits in the throne, and he goes, "Approach."
Sure.
So before he even approaches Arson, it's like, he is a bit more crazy than me. Just a bit.
I don't think I'm that crazy.
No, not you, but he.
Oh, he. Okay. You're referring to the genie. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't seem that crazy.
Believe me.
especially to Aerosan's point of view.
Yeah, his point of view. He's just a bit more crazy than Amazon.
Alright, so the genie is just sort of nonchalantly leaning against the arm of his throne. So what do you want to ask him? If anything.
So yeah, we're in the plane of air. What's going on around here? I've never been myself.
Well, usually it's picturesque. Nice place to be. Why do you think I hang around here? You know? It's a nice place, but at the moment, we're currently at war.
At war? Is it with the shadow as well?
He nods.
It's strange that so many planes have to deal with that. I've heard of other planes. Limbo seems to have been unaffected though.
Interesting. Might have to visit it for a moment to see if I can figure out why. But either way, any other questions?
So no, because did you guys basically tell me what happened, or just like stuff happened?
Yeah,
Well, Aerosan went through basics, so like that you rode the giant eagles, and that there was the feast, and all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Like
so
in
I'll
big
just keep
lines,
asking
went
him
over with it.
some questions about the plane of air and how stuff works and his magic, basically.
I think
All
my
right.
character's still asleep.
You can choose to wake up whenever you wish.
I'm still asleep.
At this point. Okay, you're still asleep then. So you start asking him some questions, and he tries to answer you to the best of his abilities. It seems like one of the few things he doesn't know is why his race has these abilities. It's sort of like a person. He describes it. I'll try to do it in his personality. He says, "So you know how you're able to, like you look at a table and you're able to pick up a fork that is on the table, correct?
Or make a fork and then just illusion a fork.
Well, sort of. Well, my abilities are. It just feels like an extension of my abilities, like my hand or an extra foot. It just works. I'm not sure how to describe it.
I think I get you. I feel the same way. I've been trying to understand my own powers for quite some time, but I'm having some trouble. Do you have any insight on that?
Well, I can give it a go. He sort of waves his hand in front of you, and then he goes, "Your magic is based on chaos. Must be influenced by the plane that you originate from."
I assumed as much, but how to control it was another thing.
That may take years and plenty of practice. And he sort of starts thinking, and he says, "Even wizards from the material plane, they sometimes take their entire lifetime to practice, and they still can't fully control their abilities."
I guess that's fair. I mean, I could demonstrate for you if you would like.
He sort of raises an eyebrow and he says, "Well, you could, but you don't have to."
Yeah, but I do find the practice quite entertaining on my part.
Go ahead then. Should be entertaining.
So yeah, I just I'm gonna try to sense if there's anything magical near me, and using a point to do that, because I can do the thing that gives me advantage and stuff.
All right. So
Yeah, you're going to detect some kind of magic, especially in Arslan's direction.
wow.
So yeah, I shoot out 7 magic missiles,
Aimed at what?
aimed at whatever I want.
So what are you gonna aim at?
The darkness.
Is there anything that's 7 thing of in the room? Like there's 7 of it.
A Crocus.
There's more than 7 Aarakocras in the room.
There are more than 7 beds, 7 pillows, 7 bed sheets.
Is there like candles or anything in this room?
Yes.
I'm just gonna shoot out 7 candles then.
All right. He goes, "Hmm." And he was intently watching you as you did that, and he sort of reaches his hand out and grasps at something almost, and then he looks at it in his hand, and he says, "Interesting." He puts it closer to his face. Yeah, that's definitely limbo magic.
Well, that's where I learned it, or always have known it.
Seems as though the only way for your powers to actually no longer exist is for the plane to no longer exist. It's as if you were combined with the plane itself. I'm not sure how to describe it. So basically he's saying that you're drawing your power from the plane of limbo itself.
So yeah, he thinks about that for a moment.
So my thoughts are you may never be able to truly master it. Unless if you could control the plane of limbo itself.
That's gonna be difficult for sure.
It's just a thought.
Well, anyway, thanks for your help. I appreciate it.
No problem. He sort of starts stretching. Alright, actually I have a question for you. And he looks at Gorath.
For me, go ahead.
While you were deceased, did you notice anything?
Well, for a period of time, I started feeling good, like I've had a really good day.
Good.
I'm not sure why though. It was a bit strange.
It was me. We were having a feast, so I attempted to contact your soul and give it good vibes.
Well, it worked. Oh,
Good. That was actually I haven't done it in a while, so I was interested to see the results.
Hold on, doorbell's ringing.
So he seems genuinely happy that his magic actually worked. Even though, from what you've seen, his magic usually works.
Yeah.
So he looks around the room. He sees that the Aarakocra are getting restless, and he says, "You can go back to your assigned stations if you wish. Unless if anybody has any objections." And he looks around the room.
For the neighbors.
He looks around the room. The genie is basically asking if you guys care if the Aarakocra remain in the room. Because he's going to send them back to whatever it is that they were supposed to be doing.
I mean, I don't mind. But
Same here.
I
Like,
assume
I don't want
Alatar
them.
and
I don't
Lily are.
want them here, but I don't want them to leave either. Like, I'm good with either.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Before we actually continue, by this time Arison has just pulled out the sword, the that slat sword, and is studying it, like what he could do with it, and taking notes on it.
All right, it's as the picture that you've seen before showed.
Mm-hmm.
The sword is pockmarked, and it has these weird star-like symbols on the hilt, and the end of the hilt has this weird demonic-looking head on it, and you know the properties that there's
Yeah,
some sort
there's
of.
a demon inside, so I also just gonna try without attuning to it, try to contact the demon that's inside the sword.
All right. As you attempt to just focus on it a little bit, not in hopes to attune to it, but just to see if you can do anything with it, you just get this feeling of that everything that is living near you has no reason to exist, and then you just sort of come back from it.
So take note of that and go like, okay, not that. What else could I try?
So if you try to, every time you try to focus on it, seems as though this mind that exists within the weapon, it seems like it just doesn't like anything that exists.
So I'm gonna try and get it to like something at least. Just gonna keep trying to contact it and see what it will do eventually. Just trying to get it to know it, maybe help it.
Alright? And every time you try to convince it of something, it says, you get this inkling in your mind that it's getting frustrated with, because every time you try to contact it, it seems like it's transposing its feelings onto you, and you just get this strong feeling of frustration as you keep trying to contact it over and over.
So I'm trying to contact it, trying to make it clear that I'm trying to help it. Maybe get his freedom back in some kind of way.
All right, and as you try to, you're sort of getting how this works at this point. So you just sort of think about it and have those feelings, and then perhaps that's communicating to it somehow. And as it comes back to you, its feelings transpose onto you. You just get this feeling of extreme ambition as you try to, as you say that you could possibly help it. Its feelings of ambition just fill up within you, that you can just take over the entire world, and then you come back from it.
Okay, that seems a bit positive. And well, I'm just gonna tell it that I even can hopefully try get it back to its own plane of existence.
And as you try to convey the feeling that you could try to get it to its own plane of existence, you just get the feeling of extreme uncaring. Seems as though it doesn't really care if it goes back.
Okay, so let's just take notes and see what I perhaps could do.
Alright, so
Just
you're
start
getting
a
the.
bit of researching and
Yeah.
without destroying the sword or making its magical properties any less, but still getting the demon that's within free some kind of way. Even if it's just like a tiny bunny rabbit thing that it is free.
Seems like whatever is in there, it just wants to destroy and take over everything. That's the feelings that you get every time that you try to contact it. And whenever you try to suggest that you do something nice for it, other than free it, it just doesn't care. It just wants freedom if possible, But if not, it just wants you to use it to kill things. That's all it wants.
Well, we could make it. Well, I also could make a deal with that. He could like install it onto DT and then have it used like that. Give his punch a bit more of an oomph, so to say.
It is happy as long as you are conveying feelings of, hey, this is going to attack things and possibly kill them. It's happy with that.
Okay, so that's good to know that it will be happy with that. So I also start making blueprints for that plan.
Yeah, some of the feelings. Are you a good creature?
I'm a neutral chaotic.
Okay. So, even being neutral, it's every time its feelings transpose into you, you just get this slight feeling of vomit coming up your throat each time. It's just so sickening of how how much hate is within this thing, how much it just wants to take over and kill everything.
So I also just relays one message that says, "Could you tune the hate down just a little bit?"
And as soon as you say that, it just transposes so much hatred into you. I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh boy. Wisdom.
Oh, you managed to
20.
succeed. You just feel the bile coming up your throat. You almost vomit on the floor, but then you just manage to swallow it back, and you manage to retain your mind and whatnot. But it's just a sickening amount of hatred. Like, you just keep getting flashes of corpses of people that you actually care about, and you get the feeling that you perpetrated the deed.
So as he also gets those flashes, he's like, "You wouldn't want to do that. I'm warning you. There's a madman in that head of mine."
And as soon as you say that, you just get this feeling of sickening joy that you're claiming to be literally insane, and it likes the prospect of possibly working with someone who's literally insane. Like, he's thinking that you're a mass murderer or something.
Well, close maybe, because he blew up quite a lot. So close enough.
Well, he's happy with the prospects at this point.
So also just tells it that it's getting to work currently on the plan, so he might not contact it in a while.
Alright, so it's sort of, you get the feeling of frustration again. Like, it just wants to have something done with it now, but it will reluctantly wait, so it's just frustrated. And then
Okay.
the feelings dissipate.
So also does get to work making blueprints to have DT's one of his fists be more deadly than the other, so to say.
Alright, so I'm gonna say at this point, Lily and Alatar, if you want to have done anything during that time, Goroth seems to be conversing with the genie. Erosan is working on the sword. So, what do you guys want to be doing at that point?
Probably waking up and praying to get my spells in order.
Fair enough. So, you feel the warmth of Senna fill your heart as you figure out what spells you wanted to choose. And it seems like when you're choosing your spells, it's basically, I want to be able to do something similar to this, is what you think, and then she grants you a spell that has whatever's closest to that. So that's sort of how that works. And since you seem to feel that whenever the reason that you can't just have infinite spells is because you're a mortal creature, and she can only transpose so many abilities onto you at once. So that would be the reason why you can't just have infinite spells.
But have you died yet? So can she prove you're mortal?
Well, Senna knows these things.
I mean,
She just knows.
he is a god
What?
after all.
He never dies. Then Sana would be wrong.
Well, you can change your fate, which would change what you are entirely. But currently, she is in the body of a mortal. So
I'm not so sure.
fair enough. Fair enough. Alatar, anything you want to be doing during that?
Yeah, I just wake up looking for food.
All right. The genie, while talking to Gorath, he says, "Just a moment." And he senses that you are requesting something in your mind, and he snaps his fingers in front of you. And as you're sort of sitting up in bed, one of those trays, like for breakfast in bed, is sort of appears in front of you, and it has some food on it.
Nice. I'll be eating breakfast.
All right. And he goes back to talking with Goroth. So there you go. And I'll say that about an hour passes during where Aeroson is sort of trying to communicate with the weapon, and Goroth is trying to understand things about this plane and whatnot. I'll give you a few more things. You ask about what was underneath that void, and or if there was anything down there, like beneath the clouds. And the genie says, "Well, I've attempted a couple of times to reach the bottom and never have."
Bottom of this abyss? Or
Yeah,
plane?
that big black abyss that was beneath the clouds.
Is that where the shadow is emanating from?
No, that was around before the shadow came.
It was.
It seems as though it's filled with, well, not to be redundant, this being the plane of air, seems as though it is filled with air.
So, I mean, if you have any way of getting us down there, we could try to see what's there. I would be intrigued.
As I was going down, I saw a few skeletons that were still falling. People who have fallen down, never rescued, died, and then rotted to the point that they were skeletons. Still falling.
Interesting.
He nods.
So,
I don't know if it's possible to reach a bottom.
I mean, it's called a plane of air for a reason. Maybe it doesn't have a bottom.
He nods. Very much possible.
And the point of portals is, I believe you can make them, right?
Well, using some of my stronger abilities, I can just make you be wherever you want.
Well, that would be great.
He nods.
But first off, is there anything in the air that we should explore before leaving?
Well,
Anything interesting?
well, if this place was safe, there would be a few tourist attractions that I could send you to that would be guarded well enough to send you to. However,
We can most likely take care of ourselves. I mean, I only died one time.
So positive.
He raises his eyebrow at you.
Oh yes, and are you an alchemist? Like, I'm going to trade if you would have any way of refilling this, and I show him the needle with like a drop of yellow left.
He takes the vial, and he's a pretty big creature. I'm pretty sure I marked the page here. They are considered large creatures. So he's pretty big, and he takes the vial just between his two fingers, and his fingers are huge compared to it, but he's managing to keep it between his fingers. And he looks at it. Well, I could attempt to refill it. He starts thinking. He puts it down on the armrest of his thing, and he goes, "It's a pretty powerful liquid." And he snaps his fingers, and it starts filling up. And it gets to about near the top, which would be one dose. And he says, and he sort of seemed tired out by it, and he passes it to you, and he goes,
Oh, thanks a lot. So what is it you would want in return?
"Well, friendship. Usually people just come and ask for requests and leave once their request is granted."
That doesn't seem fair.
Well, I had the abilities, and as long as I rested long enough afterwards, I was fine. So I was happy to do so. But I've never really had any friends. Long-lasting relationships.
I mean,
Okay, something I do want to know. Now is does Lily hear this? Knowing her.
If she's awake, she can overhear him talking if she wishes.
Oh, okay. She springs into action. I will be your friend.
He looks over and he says, "I appreciate that."
She tries to pounce on him.
All right. She jumps onto him, but she is very, very small, and he is very, very big, and she only manages to get up to his, a little bit below his knee from jumping up to him, and he looks down as you are clinging to his leg, and he goes, "All right. If you don't have time, this is payment enough."
no, I will accept your offer. So,
Well,
Yeah.
then I may contact you from time to time when I feel a bit lonely.
Oh God.
I don't
There
have
must
any
be
long
a
distance.
time.
I don't have any long distance communication though. But if you can do it with me and let me answer, that's fine.
Yes, I can do that. It's one of the simpler tricks. The hardest part is figuring out how to cross planial barriers, but I've managed to do so for many of the planes.
Interesting. So how do you do that exactly?
He sort of shrugs and he says, "As I explained before, it just feels like I'm exercising a muscle, just getting stronger, better abilities. When I was born, I couldn't do as much as I can do now. I'm sure you can understand what I mean."
I do.
So basically, he was just saying, like, he practices,
Yeah,
and then eventually he can do different things.
Yeah. So if you wish, then you may return to the material plane with us then.
Well, I do have a fighting force here.
Oh yeah, it would be a shame to leave it. How is your battle going?
Well, we have our wins and we have our losses. And one of the Aarakocra is still in the room, making sure that nothing untoward is happening in here. But he sort of motions towards one of them and he says, "These are the ones I depend on most. We haven't been able to contact any of the nearby settlements within this place."
Maybe we could do something about that. And I look towards the other people.
Right.
Are you interested in it? Because you're the closest, I assume, Lonnie, because you went up to hug him.
Let's do what I want to say of you. I think I love you.
Yeah, I think we owe a friend a favor. That's fine.
He sort of motions for the bed that Alatar is in to come forward, and it magically just slides along the closer, just so that way he can listen in on the conversation. So you don't even have to get out of bed if you don't want to.
I'll stay in bed. I'm good.
And Elatar, was it? What do you agree on trying to contact one of these villages?
Yeah, we can try that.
Alright. And he sort of looks at Erosan, and he notices that Erosan is sort of busy looking at something, and he sort of magically uses wind to lift him off the ground and place him on a bed, and then he moves the bed over.
Like he doesn't just move him.
Just doesn't notice. He's just basically scribbling in his notebook, making adjustments to blueprints. He just doesn't notice.
All right, so he sets you gently on the bed, and he pulls the bed forward, and he gestures towards him so that way you can actually speak to him.
So, do you wish to join us in one of the villages ourselves?
So Alison goes like, "Hey, what's going on? Oh, how did he get here?"
You look up at the genie, and he just sort of bows to indicate that he was the one who placed you in that position.
Oh well, what are we gonna do?
We're gonna try and contact one of the nearby villages that they have lost contact with. It seems interesting.
We can do that.
All right.
Yeah. Do you have any way of us for us to travel? I mean, I can fly myself, but I won't be able to do it for everyone. And I will only be able to do it in short periods of time.
Well, we do have mounts. Are any of you proficient in riding beasts?
No. Well, unless you count me riding onto DT, but still, I don't think so.
Any of the rest of you?
Neither. There's not a lot of beasts in Limbo.
That's true. There are a few, but they're usually
Most of
violent.
them are too dangerous to ride.
Yes, that is true. And he motions to the rest of you.
So, Lonnie, Altair, you perhaps could be riding a beast.
All right.
Good at it.
Saddle up, cowboy.
Oh boy,
Right.
let's see how bad this can go or good, because we don't know how good Lily can do it.
Yeah. He says, well, we have giant eagles, tamed. They're not too hard to maneuver, but if you aren't used to three-dimensional travel and only two-dimensional travel, it can take some time to get used to. But it's up to you. I can provide some trained what's the word? Jockeys. That's the word. I can provide some trained jockeys for you. They're actually called air jockeys, which is
Yeah.
pretty awesome. So,
Well, that sounds like a plan. It'll be interesting.
all right. And he snaps his fingers, and a couple of people come into the room, and a couple of the Aarakocra come into the room, and he says, "Whenever you're ready, they can lead you to the nearest settlements."
Oh yeah, about before we actually leave, would there be maybe one Aarakocra that is able to understand common? Cause cawing is not something we can understand.
I mean, I believe I can speak with them. Or, like, I tried to speak with one of the Kokras, like, just through the mind, telepathically, basically.
All right. You speak with him. What do you say?
Do you understand me? You can
He,
speak back to me in this way. Just
you,
tick.
his eyebrows furrow into a confused look, and then he answers back, and he goes, "Yes, I can understand you perfectly." In
You
that
see,
exact voice.
he understands me, and I say to the rest of them.
Okay, then that's settled.
Right. So, all right. I just want to look up something.
Sure.
Pretty sure that the different planes have main cities, and I just wanted to look up to see what those are. Because I was expecting that you just wanted to go back to the material plane, so I didn't actually prepare.
Yeah, I mean, our host has been most kind. Why would we just want to leave?
Alright. Fair enough. But,
Especially after he gave me a potion that's probably worth like 10 million gold.
yeah.
Or something.
Not let Arson hear that.
I don't know, it's 10 million gold, it's probably
Here
not,
it
but
is.
it was exaggeration, like most.
On page 43 is where it starts to describe the plane. So if you guys want to look at that, for reference, I'll say that he would have described some of the nearby towns on the plane. So you can look at what the planes are in the book. Aerial plane. Airplanes. Yes, plane of air. Yeah, see, on page 57, if you want to look in your book,
Of
of
the
DMG. There is the map of the material plane and whatnot.
57, you said, right?
Yes.
50...
Where the material plane is in the middle, and there's the Feywild on the side there, and the Shadowfell on the other side. And that's basically what I'm going with. The plane of air, which you are currently on, you see where that castle is
Yeah.
in the picture?
Yep.
This is someone's, what I'm going to say is someone's interpretation of this guy's castle. So, you're somewhere around there, and it looks like it's bordering water and fire. So, you know that of the plane of ash, as it's called, is on one side, and the plane of ice is on the other. And that there are the labyrinth winds and all this stuff that's here is there. And he points out that there are other settlements nearby that are in these areas. Let's see. plane of air. These range from, yes, basically the labyrinth winds they vary in speed, and it's constantly blowing wind, and they're hard to get through. But if you bring along some of those more skilled jockeys, they might be able to get you through there a little bit better than you guys would.
Yeah, since we are going to do that, I guess.
And you can try to get through to different places like Aqua, yeah, it is Aqua. Shining Domain of Silver Spires and Verdant Gardens. So it's basically a city where the Winged Dukes reside. And the Aarakocra stay there usually, but they've given a contingent of them to stay with the Jin because he's on good terms with them. Let's see.
I also jumped in, and if we were to meet anyone that's asking us for why we're here, for who we're for, who would we say we're here for?
He says, "Well, me. I suppose I could give you the name of my castle if that would help."
I guess it will. I mean, not many people would know it, right?
I call it the Windswept Palace.
Windswept Palace. Okay, that will do.
Yes. Apparently there is a race called Vati that live there. I actually don't know much about those. Do any of you know anything about them?
Actually,
No.
not.
No, but I do have something that I can look them quickly up with. If you know how it's spelled, then I can type it in my
Yes,
finger.
it's right here in the book. It's Vaati.
VAA
Ti.
TI. Huh. Let me see.
I don't know anything about them. And it only just marginally mentions them in this book.
Yeah, because they're very rare. They're lawfully neutral creatures. Wind Dukes is a race of immortals dedicated to law.
Yeah.
Yep, basically what Ben said.
Oh, so they're the Wind Dukes?
Yeah.
They're very rare, as he said. So if you see one, you're one of the lucky people who saw one.
Alright, so I'll say that you may not even see one, but they do exist there, and if you were to pursue it, then you might be able to locate them.
Yeah, but if someone just were to ask about why we're here, what we're doing, then we just say that we're here from the Windswept Palace checking a settlement.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So if someone were to ask our intentions, so to say.
Yeah. So you probably won't.
Want.
Yeah, you probably won't see one of them, but you might. I don't even know what they look like.
Oh, I have a picture for that. Hold on.
Okay, that would be
It's
helpful.
basically like giant flying humans with a cloud around their waist.
They're also naked.
No, they have a cloud. It's fine.
I posted it in the chat group, which we used to get the thing rolling, so to say.
Yes. Oh, okay. I know. I have an idea of how to do this now. I just had to get a picture in my mind of how to rule this, basically.
Imagine them.
Yeah. So once I have a picture in my mind, okay, now we're good.
Now we're cooking.
Yeah. He says that you can try to go to Aqua if you want. That would be the biggest settlement that you would find, obviously, because it's got the rulers of this plane and whatnot. It's kind of like to the plane of fire, the city of brass. It's the biggest place that most of the sentient beings congregate.
Like, spoiler alert, right before we like free the lords and the rulers there from the shadow, I'm gonna teleport us away. Like, just before.
Pretty much.
You're just gonna roll another 100, hopefully not.
Yeah. So
then we have to do the plane of water, then the plane of earth, and then the plane of fire.
Yeah, but as you can remember, the way that I was describing them, like the pointed tops, like of the castle, in this picture, it is exactly what I was trying to describe.
Okay.
So this is what his castle looks like. And it has like a landing platform on the top for the eagles. Other than that, it looks pretty much the exact same as that little picture there. And Aqua is just a floating island. There's no clouds for you to stand on, so you have to use flying mounts in order to get there.
Okay.
And once you get there, then you can walk around on the floating islands. But they have bridges connecting most of the floating islands, but some of them are still disconnected, and you'd have to fly to them in order to get to them. Still. Most of the beings on this plane can fly, so that isn't a problem. But it might be a problem for you guys. But either way, there are other places you can attempt to go, but that is the biggest one.
Is it also the closest one?
It's not the closest, but it's the biggest. It would be like if something bad is happening there, and you manage to free it from whatever's happening, they might be able to go out and start rescuing the other smaller places, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, that would be a real big help.
Yeah. So
Heck, we might even get all the planes to help the Shadowfell, Feywild, and then the material plane.
you can try to approach it that way if you want.
Like a domino effect.
Yeah. You can try to approach it this way if you wish. But he says, well, if you could get Aqua, then we could start liberating this place, but we haven't heard any contact from them. It's probably one of the first places that the Shadow decided to take down quickly.
Well,
I like this idea. I would really like to see Aqua for myself.
Yep, Aqua it is, but let's make sure that we have a fallback settlement, so to say.
Okay, this one isn't really named. It's just got a few. It's a station, mostly Arakakwa that live there. Defense station in case, there's a large threat heading towards other settlements. They can easily send some troops out to warn them and whatnot. You can get there by. Let's see. It's on the way, so you can attempt to stop there if you wish.
Yeah, that seems like a good idea.
Alright.
So, go with that plan, guys? Okay, so
Solid.
So first stop, pit stop to the defense station.
Alright. So he says, are you ready to leave?
I am. Yes.
Before I go, can I ask for a half plate?
You would like half plate armor?
Yes.
Alright.
He just had a sudden realization on how to use it properly. And he's now a master in it.
Yeah. He goes, okay, and he sort of just motions towards you. And what are you currently equipped with?
Studded leather.
Alright? He motions towards you, and suddenly your studded leather just magically begins to disappear, like in one of those Disney movies when they're changing the outfit magically. It just sort of goes around your feet and goes up, and it suddenly is a different set of armor.
Blather sky.
Unfortunately, it's not enchanted or anything, but it's regular armor. If you wanted something that's enchanted, you might start using some of his more powerful magic reserves, which he's not just willing to give away at request.
The medium's fine.
Alright. He gives it to you and he goes, "Oh, I hope it helps."
Me too.
So he just sort of sits back in his chair and he says, "Any other small requests I can grant?"
Don't think so. I guess we're ready to go.
Alright. Good luck. And he sort of sits back in his chair, and as he was when you guys first arrived, he sort of and disappears. And the room is now empty. Except for the jockeys that are going to escort you.
So our translator, let's tell them that we're ready to go.
Yeah,
Alright.
I tell whatever joke is there that we're ready to go.
Alright. There's 3 jockeys there. Since one of you said that they were capable of flying a creature, he didn't give you the 4th jockey for the 4th one. But so Lily, you might be flying your own beast.
Go team.
Alright, so the jockeys lead you up to the flight platform, and so they go through the hallways again. And you get up there. The jockeys, actually, you notice that they have this sort of strange implement on their chest. It sort of looks like a dog whistle, except it's a bit bigger, bulkier looking. And each of them just blows the whistle. It's a loud noise, and a couple of seconds later, you see some giant eagles fly down and land on the platform. 4 of them land on the platform. The 3 jockeys get on one, and they offer a hand down to whoever needs it to get onto their respective eagle.
Well, the question is the big one there again for, like, DT?
He looks towards DT, and he realizes that the smaller one that he has is probably not adequate. So then he just shoos it off, which is actually kind of strange. He just sort of waves his hand in front of its face, and then it gets startled and flies off. And then he he has a secondary whistle, and it's a slightly bigger one, and it makes a deeper type of noise. And the bigger one lands on the platform. And then he mounts and offers a hand to you.
Well, Aslan takes it and then gets up and they're off, so to say.
I sent a
Alright.
message to the eagle to see if it's intelligent and it knows a language.
You do get something, but it's sort of like hungry. 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 That's all you get. It doesn't know a language, but you're getting the feeling that it's hungry.
I take out one of my rations and give it to him.
It sort of looks back as you start handing it to it, and it just sort of picks it up in its beak and then tips its head back as birds do, and just swallows it whole.
Yeah.
So, Aslan is just waiting for the bigger one, then gets on with DT.
Yep, DT climbs on. And this one is a lot bigger. You assume that it might be aged more, you're not sure. But either way, it's a lot bigger than the other ones that are around. Or perhaps it just was fed more when it was younger. You're not sure, but either way,
Nature check.
you can make a nature check if you wish.
Let's see, where did it go? There we go. Nature, 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 nature. What did I roll? What did I roll?
20. So it's a combination of things. It's they have to feed it a lot more, and they have to use magic to enhance. It's basically like they're giving it growth hormone,
Oh,
but they're using magic to help it grow faster. So it's basically a giant eagle, if you get my drift.
yeah. So I don't think DT can fit into the bag of holding. That would be actually too big for it.
DT, he can't climb into the bag of holding, no.
Yeah, so I can't be like, zoop, now he's gone.
No. So they're understanding. They get the bigger one is there, and you can climb on that one.
Yeah, so DT do that, and they're waiting for liftoff.
All right. So Lily, no one helps you on yours because you claimed that you could fly. So
I climb up. What do you?
all right, and as I described before, I don't know if you were there when I described it, but they have saddles, kind of like horses. So it's saddled up already, and it has a bridle even. Like it has a little thing in its beak that is connected to like a strap. That way you can sort of try to control its head, and then it will fly in a different direction. So if your character's ridden a horse before, you might have marginal ideas of how to fly it, but you're not entirely sure how to make it go up and down.
My character has ridden a horse multiple times.
All right. So the only thing, like I said, is that you are slightly unsure of how to make it go up and down. But I guess you'll either figure it out or you can ask.
Would I know that Howler... not Howler, I mean... Oh, I can't remember your character's name, man.
Gorath?
Gora. Would I know that he'd be able to talk to them telepathically and they could understand, or would my character have no
Yeah, I
idea
just
about
told it to everyone earlier. He understood me, right?
Yeah.
that?
Yeah,
So
the Eric Hokra understand.
Mhm.
But you don't know if you could send a message to the eagle and it would entirely understand.
Hey, Gora! I saved your life. You're welcome. Can you make... How do you make these things go up and down? I don't understand. Any help?
I'll just tell the jockey or send him a message. So
Right.
the halfling is wondering how you make these griffins or giant eagles go up and down.
He sort of glances over to her, and then he glances back, and he sort of there's a handle on the strap, and he grabs the handle and pulls it back, and then he moves the eagle's head up and down
Okay.
by pulling it back taut. And the eagle seems like it's getting the message of going up and down, but it's not taken off yet, so it doesn't really do anything. But he showed it to you.
Okay, so then she will mimic that when she wants to go up or down.
All right. So they sort of do the kicking into the sides of the eagle like you would a horse to make it go forward, and they take off of the platform and they start flying. So Lily, you can do the same thing. You've ridden a horse before, so you just sort of mimic what you've done to a horse. You kick them with the sharp, which is why cowboy boots have those stars on the back.
First.
Yeah, they're to poke into the horse and make them go forward. Basically, that's what you do to the eagle, and it gets the message to go forward, and it starts flying through the air. So now you all are flying. Let's see. Alright. So, as you begin to head forward, you start retreading the ground that you did before a little bit, and then you sort of veer off. They turn to the left, and then, of course, you turn to the left, and you start flying forward, and eventually, after an hour or two, the wind begins to pick up a little bit.
Yeah, so Azon in the meantime has been taking in the scene and checking the measurements of how he could adjust DT.
Alright? Yeah, the scenery it's as if you're flying above the clouds in the sky of the material plane. So it's pretty picturesque. You're sort of looking around, you just see blue sky for ages, for as far as you can see, and you see the clouds beneath you, at least at the moment, for as far as you can see. And when you glance back at DT, trying to figure out where you could implement the sword, and you have a feeling that in order for the sword to keep its magical properties, it would have to remain in its current orientation. So you can't like take the blade off or anything like that.
Yeah, I wasn't planning to. It's more like inserting it into it and more make it like a stab weapon, like in the middle of DT's hand when he punches something.
Yes, so
So that the sword stabs the victim, so to say, the target, the enemy.
mhm. So here is the easiest way to implement it. You could just make a holder on his arm, and instead of using his punch ability, he could use the sword as a weapon. So instead of using his punch ability, he instead would just swing the sword at them, and it would do the sword's damage. That would be the easiest way. Slightly harder way. You could make a slot make his arm hollowed out, and put the sword in, and then have a mechanism that pushes it forward out of his palm a little bit, and then he could just do like a palm strike, and the sword would be inside, and it would do the sword's damage and possibly a little more. But that would take a lot more time to
Yeah,
implement.
I was thinking of something like a Wolverine action, like, but then just one.
Yeah, so you could do that too. You could have it come out of his wrist area, and he could do it that way. But making it come out of his fist or his knuckles would be much more work, because you would have to remove.
Knuckles
You would
was
have to,
the ID.
yeah. If you wanted to make it come out of his knuckles, you would have to rework his entire hand structure to accommodate this sword coming through.
Yeah, so more like brass knuckles style, but one of the tips just being a sword and the rest just made of steel tips. So Amazon is gonna adjust and upgrade DT at points in the game, but that is gonna take time, of course, and resources.
Yeah, that getting the sword to come through his fist is going to take a lot more time. So you can have it come through his wrist, or you could have it come through his palm. That would be a little easier. And if you just made an attachment for his arm, so that way he could swing the sword, that would be a lot easier, but it would probably do a little bit less damage.
So also is now just having multiple sketches in his book, like trying to think of what would be best and what would work the best without it like snapping off or anything.
Fair enough. So you can start drawing up those blueprints. So anybody else want to be doing anything before You
I
reach
want to
the-
use my racial spell to just turn myself into an Arcocra. That way I can get my Tides of Chaos back in case I need advantage.
Okay. So you look like an Aarakocra now. So
And I send a message to the other Arcocra and ask him how I look.
he looks back and then he makes a double take, and he sort of answers in your mind. It seems like his voice is changed by the fact that he's a bird creature, but when you're speaking to him in his mind, he sounds relatively normal. And he says, "You actually look like me, almost."
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
Well, it's almost spot on. There's a little bit, and he sort of motions to some of the underbelly feathers on the chest area, and he says, "Those are slightly discolored, but otherwise you're fine."
I'll get it the next time then.
He nods, and he keeps looking forward. All right, anything else? Alatar or Lily, anything?
Nah, I'm ready to go. Let's go.
All right,
Ready to rumble.
Alatar.
No, good for me. I'm listening. Join the flight.
All right. So eventually the wind starts to pick up, and the one that's speaking to Gorath, he sort of goes back and hits Gorath on the shoulder, and he points to his head.
Yeah,
So he
I
wants
opened
to
the
speak to you.
pathway. What is it?
He says, "We're getting to an area of high winds. Just thought I'd let you know, to let your companions be aware to hold on tight."
I just send one to everyone. Just there's a heavy wind coming. Hold on.
All right. So everyone in your mind, you get this message, and as soon as you get the message, you see in front of you that physically the clouds beneath you are being pushed out of the way, and you can see into the abyss below. And suddenly, as soon as you see that, you just get into this heavy wind. I'm gonna need Lily to make an animal handling check at disadvantage because you don't know how to control eagles very well.
Disadvantage. I'm gonna die.
No, you're not.
Or
See,
15.
you are fine.
15. So you manage it. It's the eagle gets disoriented, even though it may have passed through this area before. It just seems disoriented suddenly by the sudden wind, and you manage to pull the reins up so that way it doesn't fall down into the abyss, or tip over and cause you to fall into the abyss. So you manage to stabilize it enough so that way it's actually flying steadily at this point. It's not hurricane force winds, but it's a lot heavier winds than the calmness that was before it. And you manage to get it back into position. The other ones masterfully just sort of pull the reins back up into position with perfect timing. And the eagles are currently soaring forward, though you can feel that the eagles are slowly being pushed along with the wind current. But it seems like the other ones, are, like the Aarakocras, are flying just straight still, so perhaps this is the way that you're supposed to fly through here. So you're just following their lead, basically, for now. Let's see. So for a while it's really strong winds, and then the winds just suddenly die down a lot, and then it's just a calm breeze. So then the eagle sort of has to react again. But you manage to get it back into position, and It's calm. You're flying quietly, but you can hear all around you just howling winds, super strong. Some possibly even hurricane force winds.
We're in the eye of the storm.
Yeah. Pretty much. This area has random strength winds at random locations. So, as you're going, you could hit hurricane force winds and then go straight into a breeze again, and then hit soft winds and then things like that. So, let's see. So. Yeah.
Oh god.
So, let's see. You get into the calm winds again, and then the Aarakocra sort of taps Goroth again.
So Gord, you have been tapped.
Yeah. Okay. I'll open the pathway again and ask.
All right. He says, "These winds are going to change rapidly from here on. You might want to warn your less experienced comrade." And he motions towards Lily.
So yeah, I just tell Lily that the winds are gonna keep changing at random, so she should be ready for it.
I got this. I'm good.
All right.
If
So,
I die, tell my wife I loved her.
You have a wife?
No.
Oh,
all right.
then that's kind of hard to do.
Yeah, since we don't know who that is, where that is.
All right. So, a couple seconds later, Lily, you're a bit behind because you sort of gauged that you might want to be a bit behind the other ones, so that way you can react a bit quicker. And at that point, you witness as suddenly the three other ones just zoom past you in front of you, and because the wind is blowing so hard in front of you. And then you reach the area where they were, and suddenly just 200-mile-per-hour winds just hit you really hard. And I'm going to need you to make another animal handling check, this time at regular, because you were ready for it, but you still had disadvantage, so you had advantage, but you had disadvantage.
I'm gonna look back towards her and I'm gonna bend her look as well, because I can see her. So I spend 2 sorcery points to give her a D4.
Alright, you have an extra D4.
So 18.
Alright, 18. You managed to get the eagle to remain on a straightforward path, and you're still being pushed violently to the side. But the other ones seem to be prepared for this. It seems like the eagles, once you get them into proper position, their wings are sort of being pushed to the side a little bit, but it seems like they're trained for this sort of action. So once you get it into proper handled position, it seems like you're going all right. And then you suddenly are pushed along, and the other three sort of turn into the wind at this point, and you sort of turn the eagle into the wind. And you start following this current of air that is pushing you along. Let's see. It sort of snakes around a little bit, and then the Aarakocra pokes Goroth again.
Yeah, I'll just do it again and nod.
He says, "We're gonna have to turn out of this violent wind tunnel in about 30 seconds. You might want to let your companion know."
Yeah, So I'll just start a countdown to from 30 seconds. So you hear
Alright.
like 30, 29. Oh yeah, we're leaving. Like we're turning out of the wind when the countdown ends, and I start to think to myself where we were, and like 24, 23.
Alright, so Lily, you're getting a countdown.
Mhm.
Alright, so just as he hits 2, you witness the first one that's in front of you just dart off, and then when he gets to 1, the other one darts off, and then the one that Goroth is on, and he says 0, and that one darts off to the side. I need you to make a regular animal handling check.
And how? 14.
Yeah,
All
I'll
right.
do it again because I don't trust anything below 15.
Okay. So you get to roll a d4. All right. 2. So you just barely managed to get out of the wind tunnel fast enough, and now you're in calm airs. The wind is still blowing relatively hard, but it's calmer, a lot calmer than what you were currently in. It was as if you were in a wind tunnel at that point. And you just come out of the wind tunnel. You still hear the wind blowing behind you, but you're now in calmer airs, about 40 kilometer per hour winds. But it's a lot easier than what you were just in a few seconds ago, and you managed to keep flying straight forward. All right. So I'll say that you've been doing fairly well. So I'll say for the next couple of hours, similar situations keep happening. You keep having to dart in and out of different wind tunnels, and they lead you along whichever way you're headed, and you manage to successfully make it through there without falling off your eagle. So it's pretty
So
good for a first-time jockey.
You said 40 km, right? Kilometers?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I was using kilometers. Sorry.
I had Google translate that for me. We're good.
Okay. So, yeah, when you were in the wind tunnel, it was over 200 km.
Mhm.
So you can translate that if you want. Let's see.
Guacamole.
Yeah. Let's see. So you managed to get into the next little bit of area. You glance down, and it's and the jockey taps Goroth again.
Yes.
We're gonna be darting down pretty quickly, relatively soon. The outpost is nearby.
We're near. I sent to Lily, and we're gonna be darting straight down.
All right.
All right, let's do this.
So the first eagle dives straight down. It's sort of like those air training routines that you see the Air Force go through. First one dives down, the second one dives down, the third one dives down. Lily, do you dive down?
Absolutely.
All right, you dive down, you just pull the eagle's head so that way its head is facing down, and then the rest of its body inevitably follows, and you dive straight down. And now that you're looking straight down, you see a big open abyss, but you see a little chunk of rock floating in the air with a building on it. It just looks like a bunker, basically. It's just a stone building that's square in shape. And you dive straight down towards it, and the first eagle lands on top of it, giving enough space for the other eagles to land, and 2, 3, and I'm going to get you to make an animal handling check.
All right, regular animal handling?
Yeah.
18.
Because you haven't landed an eagle before. So that was why you rolled. And the eagle, you just pull its head up flat as you get close to the area, and it just puts its talons down onto the stonework and prevents itself from flying past it, basically. So it sort of stumbles a little bit and then lands on it. So you are safely on the roof of this building. The jockeys dismount, and they go. They look around. You don't see anybody. And it seems as though the jockeys were expecting somebody to show up.
Is something wrong? I ask him.
He looks back and he says, "The guards are supposed to show up when we say show up," which is what I just said for the record.
I try to mimic show up in Auron.
Alright, make a performance check.
Performance.
Yeah.
Sure, let's give myself advantage, because I can. Performance.
Alright.
23.
You mimic it pretty much perfectly. But I guess you'll have to roll on the wild surge, so 65. What does 65 do?
65, that's right here. A wall of force appears in front of me and lasts the full duration. So basically the entrance is blocked now.
Alright, a wall of force appears suddenly, and the Aarakocra doubles back, and he says in your mind, as long as the communication is still open, he says, "The genie warned us about this."
About what?
He looks back at you and he says,
I think there was something wrong with what I said. Are you sure it means... what did you say it meant again?
"Means show up."
Oh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I got a bit confused. So this wall showed up.
He looks back at you and he says, "The genie said your magic was chaotic." And he just looks back at you, disapprovingly. But either way, he sort of looks around. There are multiple entrances into this building. The building isn't small by any means. Well, for a building, at least. It's about 70 feet by 70 feet. So it's pretty big. But it's just floating out in the middle of an abyss, so it seems small compared to the abyss that's around you. And there are multiple entrances, so your force shield wall is currently blocking 2 of them, but the other 2 are accessible. But the Aarakocra are still worried that nobody's showing up.
We should go check it, and I send a message to him. And I tell everyone else that something is probably wrong. The guards aren't showing up.
Yeah, the Aarakocra answers you, saying, "Well, do you want us to stay here with the eagles, or?"
Yep.
Yeah, somebody has to take care of the eagles, so just
Right.
watch lilies as well.
Yeah, he sort of goes, and the other one grabs the 2 reins, the one for his and one for Lily's, and he just sort of pulls them forward to stay closely together, so that way they aren't like too grouped apart.
Yeah. So should we go in that way? I see there's some doors there.
Yeah, so
They're taking care of my bird thing, eagle, flying thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you witness as one of them is grabbing the reins of the one that you were riding and pulling it closer.
Okay. We're just not gonna be stuck here and then, like, we die and stuff, right?
I hope not.
Yay!
All right. So, what do you want to do? There's two entrances. Sort of looks like they're just stairways down into the building. There's no like trap doors or anything to open. They're just stairways down.
So yeah, I get off mine and wait by the staircase.
As a DT gets off and walk to the staircases, so let DT go up front and down the staircase with him close behind, just to be sure that, just to make sure.
All right. Everybody joining, I assume?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
behind them.
All right. So I'll say that DT is going first.
Yeah.
Okay. So, DT is first. He gets to make any perception checks first.
Oh, which
So,
he's pretty good at.
so I'm just letting you know that if he sees anything that happens, he'll see it first. And I'll take that for the first one.
23.
So, you guys start going down the steps. And you look into the room below you, and you see that it's very, very, very dim light. Barely any light at all. So I think the halfling can't see very well.
And that's the only one.
If everybody else has dark vision.
I think
Yeah.
so.
I
Yeah.
cannot see.
Yeah,
DT
everyone
can
has
see in
that.
the dark.
Alright, so, Alatar can also see, because he has Devil's Sight, I think.
Yeah,
Yes.
he sees better than everyone here. So
So he can see clearly. Is Devil's Sight, can he see in
120.
color? Can he see in color, or is it still grayscale?
I think it's still gray, but like you can see through magical
Where's this
darkness.
Okay. So it's still grayscale, but you can see into this next room. And this building is a little bit taller than you might have expected, because there's this floor, and then you see other staircases going down. So this floor, the height of the ceiling is about 50 feet if you're standing on the floor. So you're heading down the staircase, and you don't see anybody in this room. Nobody in this room. And for that first perception check from DT, he sort of pokes Erosan with one of his fingers, and then he points towards one of the walls. You see that there is an indent into the wall, as if something was heavily hit into the wall and then is now no longer there. So there's like, it's a stone wall, and there's like a small indentation into the wall. So something hit it pretty hard.
So Alison gets up and checks it out what it might have caused it, but still on high alert.
Alright, yeah, you're cautious. Fair enough. You approach the wall. Nothing seems to be hurting you. You would think that the Aarakocra would have warned you if there were traps in here, so there's probably none of those. You approach, you go towards the wall, you see that there is... actually, make an investigation check. So you don't see anything yet.
Ooh.
8. There are some things that are pretty obvious. You see that in the indentation, you see what looks like 3 digits. Like something punched the wall, but it only has 3 digits. So it has a big knuckle here, a big knuckle here, and a big knuckle on this side. And you see that there's red... something red is on the wall, like it's darker in color, because you're using dark vision. There's something darker in color on the wall. Probably blood, but you're not 100% sure. But it's plausible that that's what it is. You see the indentations from the marks. It's sort of like this. It looks like this on the wall. The indentation here for the digits are like that, impressed into the wall. So whatever hit this wall may have been holding something that had a dark liquid within it as it hit this wall. That's all that you can say for sure.
Any signs of a scuffle, perhaps?
You don't see much, like, there's no indentations in the floor of like a weapon hitting the floor or whatnot, but you just see this indentation into the wall.
Okay, so is there perhaps, if it's blood, is there a trail, perhaps?
You don't see one, if there is one, because your investigation, you don't
Okay.
see anything important other than that.
Well, then Arusan motions for DT to continue on, then he follows behind him.
Alright. So, the rest of the group, you're in a very large empty room. This room doesn't even have furniture in it, which I'm not sure if that's the way that it's supposed to be.
Okay. How big is the room?
It's 70 by 70, and then up it's 50. So it's a pretty hollow, empty room. And you can hardly see anything because it's dark. You can see little... Yeah, you can see little flickers of light from wall torches that are burnt out.
Okay, can I, like, pull out my torch and light?
Oh yeah, as you mentioned that Arusan is lighting a few torches with firebolt.
Alright, you can light a few of those torches, sure. It seems like they're having a hard time lighting. Not Lily's, but the ones that are in the room. Seems as though the fuel wasn't renewed recently, so they're having a hard time getting burning.
Yeah, Arusan doesn't have any fuel on hand, so yeah.
They burn a little bit brighter, so there is a little bit of light filling the room, but it doesn't give you full light, which usually they can give you a 20-foot radius. These ones are only giving off 10 because they're not lighting up very well.
So Arusan goes like, seeing better, Lily?
Yes, I can see! And it's nice!
Okay, that's good to know.
Alright, so Lily, you approach where he is standing and you see the indent into the wall.
Man, your head hit it hard!
Well, that wasn't my head.
Investigation to see what else I could find about the thing. Is that cool?
Alright. Make an investigation.
Horrible investigation. Hey, 16!
Hey!
You did better than him. And he has a +6. So, you start looking around, and Arusan looked at the floor marginally, but he didn't really look at it closely. Or maybe it's perhaps the light is nearby now, so you can see clearly. You look at the liquid on the wall, or whatever it is. You sort of look towards it. It's definitely blood. It's relatively dry, though, so you can see why it's not apparent that it's a liquid. It's pretty dry, completely, it's just stuck to the wall now. You look down at the floor, and you do see that there is a blood trail that leads to one of the stairways going down.
Hey, look! We should go that way!
Should we inform our birdie friends?
We're not done investigating.
Well, maybe they know something that has 3 fingers that would punch a wall, perhaps?
Their Kokra seems to have a similar hand as the one in the wall.
I will say that they have 3 fingers and 1 thumb, whereas this has 2 fingers and 1 thumb.
The last finger might have just not gotten in there. I don't know. But either way, we can head down.
Yeah,
I can scout ahead to see if there's any people there, and I'm gonna cast detect thoughts to see if I can detect any other thoughts as we're moving.
Any other?
downstairs.
Yeah, that's actually really useful. What's the range on it?
It's 30 feet of me.
Okay, so you can't detect the Aarakocra's thoughts above you because they're 50 feet up, so
Yeah.
your radius doesn't get that high. And you don't detect anything below you yet.
Yeah, but like as we keep moving, I'll like scout for thoughts.
Yeah, that's
I'm
fair.
trying to move hurriedly while it's going.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm just saying that you can't detect anything in your current position.
So I hurry on downstairs.
He's
Yeah.
following the blood trail, dashing on ahead.
I also saw that DT are following as well, going first as they can do defense.
Yeah. All right.
Let's say.
So DT gets in front of Goroth.
Yeah.
They're still going fast enough so that way you're not trying to go past them or anything.
Mhm.
So everybody is heading down.
Guess right.
I'm just making sure
Yes.
that nobody's splitting the party or anything.
No, staying
It's
together.
always a great idea. I don't think it's failed a single time.
All right. So you guys start heading down, and you're into another room. This room is even darker than the last. The embers on the torches are not even lighting anything at this point.
Question
you can
for
just
all
see. You
the
can just see
tar.
the. Okay, just a second. You can see the embers are glowing, but that's it. That's the only light that's in this room.
Yeah, so as it turns to altar, any magic trying to kill the light here?
Yeah, Elatar can actually see magical darkness and tell if it is magical darkness. So he looks down into the room. You aren't perceiving any magical darkness in that room.
Okay.
Do you tell me that or what?
He tells you, okay.
Okay.
That's all you. Yeah, only you.
So I guess nothing. Okay.
Yeah, nothing.
So
Alright.
it's safe. So Arason gets a few torches out for himself and put them in the sconces, as they're called, right?
Alright, so do you remove the torches from the sconces? Because that's the only way that the ones that are already there.
Yeah, and take them with me. So
Alright. So you can remove 6 torches if you want. To light up this entire room. You can remove 6 if you have 6 torches. You can remove
I do
those.
have, because I barely used mine. So now I have 4.
All right, and you can put the fuelless, which means they don't have fuel, torches into your inventory. 6 of them.
We'll have to stop by a gas station to fill them.
Yeah, basically.
We'll fly by one, don't worry.
So that just indicates that you'll either not get much light from them if you light them, or you have to refuel them to get them back to usual. So you can put them in your inventory if you want them.
I did that.
All right. So let's see. The room is brightly lit at this point, relatively, especially if Lily stands in the exact middle. You can see everything in the room. Let's see.
I guess the blood trail's going somewhere.
Yeah. So make another investigation check.
Okay.
Investigation.
Actually, you can't see the ceiling without dark vision, but you can see the whole bottom of the floor.
Like, I'm not trying to investigate the floor. I'm trying to rush past to see if there's any other floors, because I'm just looking for thoughts to see if I can hear any.
But I'm just gonna get this first before we get to that.
Pretty high.
All right. So now that you actually know what kind of trail you're looking for, you see that before it was just drops of blood, but then suddenly it gets into a drag mark, which if you've ever seen any horror movies, that's a really bad sign. This means you're getting closer to a kill room or whatnot. So you see the drag mark going down the stairs into this next floor. And
So-
you see that Goroth is quickly rushing into this next floor, and you don't detect any thoughts on this floor.
Yeah, Arison sends DT after him and quickly follows. The
All
gun
right.
is still loaded, by the way.
Alright. So you start going down to the next floor. Does everybody else follow?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I'm already running because I'm
Yeah.
trying to make use of my spell.
Alright. Yeah, so okay, so Goroth, you're gonna get something before DT has a chance to proceed. So, you get this thought of, it's just a deep sigh in your mind.
Okay, so at that point, when I hear it, I'm gonna try to probe the creature deeper, like to see what it's
Okay.
like the ability basically. So it has
Yes.
to make a wisdom save.
Okay. So wisdom saved by the creature. Doopa-doopa-doopa-doopa-doo. Yeah, I have to roll this.
If not, then I get insight into its reasonal, its emotional state.
Alright. Yeah, fair. Just give me a moment.
Yeah.
Alright, 13. Does that
Does it
fail? Or
fails.
okay. So, you can dig into whatever thoughts you want, but this is what you immediately get just by digging deeper. You get, when is something going to show up?
Like I
What
tried
is
to
that?
picture.
Okay.
Okay. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm just so bored.
Okay, so I'm trying to find out what he's looking for, like what he.
Alright, so specifically, he is looking for any living creature to come into this place.
That sounds real comforting,
Would I
living
know
creature.
for like what purpose? Like just enter, like.
Alright, so you don't know what the creature is unless if you probe deeper to get that information.
Actually,
so
yeah, I would try to do that as well.
Okay,
too.
so you can, based on its thinking patterns, you might be able to get something. So I'll say make a nature check.
Nature. Nature. That's 11 because I'm great at
Alright.
nature.
Yeah. He, or the creature, it has very or erratic, not erotic.
Like I'm reading its thoughts and it's just erotic. The whole there's nothing.
Yeah, erratic is the word I was looking for.
Very chaotic thinking pattern.
Yeah, it's just trying to. It just wants to do something, but otherwise, if it thinks of anything else, it just thinks what it did last month and what it did 2 days ago, and then just jumping around to random topics in its mind.
I'm trying to figure out what it did to the last people it saw.
You actually get a detailed memory on this. You get a memory of something's perspective looming over a bird-like creature that you've seen before, and it's some sort of appendage reaching out that has 3 fingers, like I described, and it's very long and very skinny, and it grabs onto it and slams it into the wall, and then dropped it, and then it started running away, and then its memory flashes to when it's on the next floor, and it's sort of limping away, and then it turns around, and you see it just grab and squeeze really hard.
So this creature is the one killing, not the one getting hurt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the perspective that you're seeing. And it squeezed really hard and then made that drag mark on the floor because it was dragging it along. So,
I tell Doty to stop, and I stop, and I look back.
Doty doesn't stop for you.
Well, you heard me tell him, so
you can tell, Arizon can tell DT to
Only
stop.
stop.
Right.
Yeah,
He
so
stops on the
Erson
stairs.
stops and tells him to be very stealthy as if he can.
Alright. He gets crouched down into a stealth-like position.
and I say to everyone else quietly that creature that killed this Kokra, was that right? That got killed?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is just down here. He's bored and looking for new playthings, so.
So
It's what
Erson
I've
just
been gathering.
holds up the gun, making sure that it's somewhere that he can just shoot it
Alright.
if he has to.
Yeah, so your gun is equipped easily enough.
At the ready.
You might want to take out your torch if we're gonna catch it by surprise.
You mean snuff the torch?
Though, as you sort of glance down into that next room, or at least what you can see of it, it's pitch black.
Is somebody want to like hug me and stuff? Cause I don't know if I can see.
So Erson just grabs Lily by the hand and says, "I'm here."
Hug.
She hugs to you.
So I just let her hug on end while I'm holding the gun, like waddling like forward slowly, like this is a bit hard, but still doable.
Alright, so you start reaching the bottom of the stairs.
Before that, I go invisible, and I would try to go ahead of DT.
Okay, you can do that as long as you have the spell to cast, and you can easily just go ahead of him. Alright, so anybody who wants to make stealths, I forgot to do that, so anybody who's making a stealth check, make a stealth check.
14, and for DT, if
Oh wait, I'm on Howler now for some reason. It's
DT screwed it up.
yep, he is loud after all. He's big, loud, and clunky.
Alright, so you guys get to the bottom of the stairs. I'm gonna say that the room is oriented like the other rooms, except since you guys can see pretty much the entire room, the back of the room is got a bunch of chairs and tables and weapon racks and weapons themselves just piled up, a whole bunch of them. That's what you see at the other side of the room. So I'm going to say that the room is set up the same way. Any particular location that Goroth wants to be in?
I'm just trying to move around invisible, trying to locate the creature.
Okay, so the only thing that you can see in the room is that big mass of furniture and other implements and whatnot. Just in a
There's
mass.
no other doors or anything? Like this is the...
There is no doors down here. This building wasn't expected to be attacked, and if it was, they were either going to drive off whatever it was there or die trying. So it's not like they have an alternate escape route or anything in this building.
Okay, so yeah, I'll just go near the wall then and look for anything, like investigate the room basically, or perception, or I don't know.
Alright, I'll say make an investigation check of the pile, because that's the only thing that's in the room, really.
Yeah, DT is just scanning the room, making sure there's nothing in the room that is like trying to harm them.
Yeah, we're doing Goroth first because he is invisible and went on ahead.
Yeah.
6.
It's a big pile of stuff. There's some decent weapons in there, like spears and long swords, but those things don't really interest you. But they look like they're pretty well kept. Well, they were up to a certain extent, but now that they're in this pile, it looks like they got damaged or whatnot.
I just pick up a sword and like test it around a bit.
All right. You guys see as suddenly a sword just lifts off the pile, or anybody who can see in dark sees that, and it starts swinging around and then sets back down. It's decently balanced, but there's a couple of chips out of it.
So yeah, I look back to others.
All right, and you look back to them just as DT reaches the final step, and for some reason this step wasn't as sturdy as the others, and he just crunches down on the stair. The stair just breaks in half. So
The staircase. No, that's the stair.
just
Bing.
the single stair, the last stair
Yeah.
on the staircase, just cracks in half and breaks.
So DT looks down for a moment and then back up and just continues like nothing happened.
All right, but you guys are aware that a loud noise just happened as the stair cracked in half.
Mm-hmm.
And as that happens, you hear from the pile.
I throw down the sword towards the pile again and move off to the wall.
All right, you move over to the wall. I'll
So-
say that you use your full movement.
DT does notice that sound and just lifts up its fist, ready to get into action.
All right, everybody hears the noise. What do you guys want to do? I'll say that you have one movement before whatever's going to happen happens. So you can try to get to certain places in the room if you want.
I'm still holding on to Gio's character, and so can I talk to it?
You can attempt to.
Okay, I say in common, "Hey, we're not here to hurt you. I'm just nosy." Really?
All right. Anybody else want to do anything while this is happening?
Yeah, I also just look at Lily and goes like, maybe not give my position away, please.
Well, either way, she already spoke. So, Alatar, anything?
Can I move because it's corner to me?
Okay,
Well-
question. Did you eat your mic?
Yeah, you're
Oh,
really
I'm sorry. My head turned. Can I move to the closest corner, like the right-hand side of us?
Sure. You get to the bottom of the staircase, and there's a corner there that you can easily
Cool.
get into.
Sweet.
Okay. So, anybody else? Anything else that they want to do before what happens happens?
Well, Aslan is just in the ready to shoot when it has to.
All right. So I guess that's everybody. So everybody gets into their various positions, and I need everybody to make while I'm describing the next portion of the initiative rolls.
Everyone needs to make initiative.
I was fearing a wisdom save.
Yeah, so it's just as I'm setting everything up. So, is everybody's thing going in?
Aslan
Looks
did
like it's
well.
going in.
Like
Looks like
super
it
well.
all went in. Except Alatar, for some reason. So I'll add him.
He has an 8.
Okay. And enemy... I'll get to that in a second. So, as you hear the noise, you see one of the 3 fingered appendages just reach out towards one of the weapons and grab it. And that's where the initiative starts. So, and it quickly does so. It just goes like that. So, need to roll for its initiative, and its initiative 7. It's gonna go after everybody, it looks like. We'll just put it in descending order. There we go. Everybody is in their order. So then, initiative starts. Erosan, you see a pile of garbage on the other side of the room. And you see the three-fingered appendage that looks reminiscent to the marking that you saw. Reach out and grab one of the weapons that's on the pile.
Kaboom to that hand!
Alright. Technically it has 3/4 cover. Because it's only reaching out its appendage.
Doesn't matter to me. Because
Alright.
sharpshooter.
Alright. So, you ignore cover?
Yeah.
3/4 cover and half cover I ignore, full cover I don't. But 3/4 I do.
I mean, you
Okay.
can't ignore full cover because then there's no way to shoot them.
Yeah, no, he said 3/4.
Yeah, it's 3/4. Because there is spaces in the junk that you might be able to get through as well. So, you shoot at the hand. 18 hits.
This one is my extra painful shot, so... Kablemo.
Alright, and as that happens, you see the appendage dart back as soon as the noise happens, and you hit part of the pile instead, but you hear so you probably still hit it. Just that I didn't want its appendage to get blown off, so that's why that happened.
Fair enough. I mean, it is an acid and a necrotic attack with it added, so pretty much pain.
Yeah. So it has some damage on it, and you hear from deep within the pile
Okay.
as that happens. So,
be
any other attacks?
No, that's it.
Alright.
Well, no, that's it.
Alright. I have to scroll up to the top again. Okay, Lily. You can't really
Alright.
see. You just hear the noises.
How far away from me can I assume it is?
It seems like it's on, in a similar. This room is a similar sized room to the other ones, and it seems like it's on the other side of the room. So about 70 feet.
70, okay.
And it seems like it's aware of your position, so I guess stealth might be out the window, so you might be able to light a torch to see if you wanted to do that. But that's up to you.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna walk away from Gio's character. For some reason, I can never remember your character's name.
Alison.
Arasan. I guess as my action, light a torch, and I walk to it. I'm gonna tell him, "Hey, thanks for trying to save me, but I'm gonna save me."
Alright. It just goes in response. Alright, I guess that's your turn.
Yeah.
Alright, DT.
DT's just gonna... How far away is it from DT?
It is I assume that you were by the staircase,
Yes, he is.
so then 70 feet.
Frick! Frickety frick, frick, frick. 10 feet too short!
Yep.
Well, DT's just gonna move 10 feet, 10 feet up and then just hold its action. If it attacks that, it's just gonna charge. Full on charge.
Okay. Fair enough. Gorath.
Yeah.
You can see. So you see that the appendage is reaching in.
Hurt at this moment.
Yeah, you heard the creature get hurt, but from the shot, which echoes loudly in this confined stone space.
I'll start taking out my crystal ball and spin it around and create lightning from my hands and it, and I'll point towards that direction as all of the weapons start flying around the room as a lightning storm appears.
All right. So, lightning storm. Radius.
So immediately he has to make a strength save or take 2d6.
Okay.
It's also difficult terrain, so he has half movement in there.
Okay. So it's already pretty difficult terrain anyway because of all the stuff in the way. Seems
So
like it was
still
using a
difficult.
strategy to use the stuff as its defensive mechanism, but it seems like that's going to turn against him in a second here. All right. So strength it was
Yes.
21.
Okay, so it makes it so it doesn't take the 2d6, but with my bonus action, I can attack it with my spellcasting modifier.
Mhm.
So it's basically, as long as I'm concentrating it, I can do my spellcasting modifier, which is basically a charisma saving throw for me. And I'm going to use my Tides of Chaos to give myself advantage. So 16 to hit.
16 to hit. That doesn't hit.
That doesn't it? Okay.
All right. So chaos roll.
Yeah, of course, Chaos roll as well. 14. Okay, so all my spells just take a bonus action instead of an action now.
Nice.
Wow. That's pretty
So
good.
he can cast another.
For a minute, so for this combat.
So he can cast another time, right? Or am I wrong?
No,
now?
my turn.
No, he already used his bonus action to do the charisma save.
Ah, okay.
All right, Alatar. There's suddenly lightning in the room.
And the flash of a gun.
And now, Lily, you can see that there's a huge pile of garbage on the other side of the room. And it's being struck by lightning. So, Alatar, what do you want to do?
Can I shoot the garbage with my Eldritch Blast?
Sure. You can attempt to aim at the creature, but it has 3/4 cover unless if you have something to negate that.
Let's just see what happens.
All right. Shoot. 25 hits, even with 3/4 cover. So you did well.
And your second blast as well, so that's a 23.
23. All right, he took a bunch of damage there. You just hear from within the thing.
Cool.
All right, I assume you don't have a bonus action.
No, I'll stay in the corner.
All right, finally its action gets to do something.
If it gets a chance from DT, that is.
So unless if one of your abilities has given him something else, this is what's going to happen. It has the weapon in its hand, and it is going to quickly. It doesn't see the invisible guy.
I'm no
It just-
longer invisible, by the way.
Right. Well, it's still not paying attention to you because you're just coming visible. So it's focusing on the ones that it saw before.
Yeah.
And it's just going to throw a sword. Let's see. I'm going to roll. How many people are over there?
There are 1, 2, 3, 4 people visible.
Okay, 4. So that's a D4 then. 1D4, not plus 8. 4. So it's going to hit the one that it won't probably should be hitting right now, which is the one that did the most damage to it.
Yikes.
So, it's throwing a sword. Let's see. And its strength is 8, plus it has proficiency. So...
Nope.
Oh, wow! So it throws the sword towards
Alison.
on, but there's lightning in the way, and there's all kinds of stuff that's happening in front of it. So then,
And since he attacked, DT is not happy and full of charges, which he needs to make a strength check to actually. Oh god, he's actually gonna fail.
so
Well, he still has to make. Well, does it? Let me just check something real quick, because I don't recall if he still has to make it, even if DT fails to hit.
No, he has to hit for him to make the save.
that's what I would say anyway. So here's what happens.
No, it says it must. Well, let's see.
Yeah, if it hits, it must make a strength saving throw.
Yeah, it hits. It needs to hit. So DT is not gonna hit at all.
So here's what happens. Instead of you like it dodging out of the way or whatnot, instead he just hits a bunch of garbage that's in front of it and knocks the garbage prone, if that helps.
Well, that all implodes out of the way.
Yeah, so some of the there's a dresser there that explodes once he hits it. And it's scattered all over the floor. But unfortunately, it's still covered in garbage.
And you might not want to touch DT again for a while, because the next time you're gonna get quite the shock.
Well, he does have parts of wood, so that's a good thing.
So, Edosan's turn. You watched as DT just ran up and smashed some of the garbage, but unfortunately, there's still garbage in the way.
Load one round and go for. Let's see, where is it? Ah, yes. And do the physical. Well, not the physical. It's 16. Does it hit?
16, even ignoring the 3/4 cover, no, it does not hit.
Okay. And that's the end of my turn, since the loading costs a bonus action.
Alright. Lily, you can now see the area clearly, but there's lightning over there. It's not a good situation.
Just lightning and weapons and a giant robot.
Yeah.
We're just smashing the thing in because we know it killed something.
So, Lily, what do you want to do?
There goes what I was gonna do. I was gonna enter melee with it.
Well,
Your hair starts to rise as you.
All right, why not? How far away from me is it right now?
I said that you double moved because you
So
technically
20
used it.
feet still.
Yeah.
You're correct.
So you can reach it if you want.
Okay.
You
reach
don't
it.
take damage from my lightning as soon as it's finished casting, so.
Is she going to get hit by the lightning? Just
No,
double
she
checking
doesn't.
again? No.
All right,
Okay.
I'm gonna
It's
try
only when I
to-
first cast it.
going to
Okay.
try to attack it.
Fair enough.
You have a great axe now.
I'm using my battle axe. My battle axe is a +2. I'm assuming 25 hits it.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
with cover, you're still hitting it.
Cool. 5 slashing damage, and I'm going to cast Thunder.
You
Under smite, I assume, because you cut out.
Thunder Smite.
Mhm.
First time you hit with a melee weapon, attack during the spell's duration. Your weapon rings.
Oh, the first time I hit,
Lightning and
then-
thunder, I like it.
then the other way around. My apologies. I thought it was like that just happened.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It's the first time using a spell, so I'm fine with it. Audible within 300 feet of you, so.
Darkoka has boom.
Okay, so.
Just roll your 2d6 and it has to make a strength save.
And your weapon damage is 5.
Here's
so
what I'm
that's
gonna say,
9.
actually, since
14.
that boom happened in such a confined space. Everybody needs to make Constitution saving throws.
Why?
DT doesn't have the problem from it. He's like, nothing happened to me.
And that's charisma. That's wrong.
Ah, frick!
10.
An 8.
Ice.
So Alatar and Lily, you're fine. But unfortunately, Goroth and Alatar, or Errolson, sorry, you are deafened. For
Sorry.
Okay, let's see. What does it do? Because I
You
had a
just
nice...
hear a loud ringing in your ears because that was so loud. Even the gunshot wasn't as loud as this.
So Arasat just smiles and sticks with his thumb. I want to do that one time.
Yeah, so you can't hear, so... Yeah, a deafened creature can't hear and automatically fails any ability check that requires hearing.
Yeah.
So, you are now aware of that because you can't hear. All you hear is...
Yeah, DT's just standing there like nothing happened.
Yeah, DT doesn't have normal ears, so he just perceives the noise, input data, and continues along
Yeah, he
his
just...
way.
As it reaches just a bit too loud, he just throws the data away like nothing, not important.
So, I assume, Lily, that is your turn?
Yes, that is my turn.
DT.
How
Immediately-
far away is the... Well, the creature is... Is the creature pushed 10 feet away?
No, the box that he hit in front of it was.
Okay. So that wouldn't mean that... Well, DT can, so DT takes 20 feet back and then charges again.
Does he disengage?
No.
So that means it gets an opportunity attack.
Okay, scrap that then it's straight to the fisticuffs.
Alright, fair enough.
15.
15 misses. He also has to deal with 3/4 cover because he doesn't have sharpshooter or anything.
No,
like
he
that.
doesn't.
So that definitely misses. So he punches and he hits some of the furniture. It splinters off into a different direction. It's not a good thing that this thing is hiding.
Well, actually good for DT because he now has a bit more space to try and hit it.
Eventually, after a bunch of it is destroyed, I will say that it no longer has cover, but for now it still does.
Yeah, so that's it.
It's
Alright.
just the cover is currently flying.
Flying in all directions.
Well, lightning bolts are hitting it, so then yes, some of it is getting destroyed. I am taking that into account. So, Goroth.
Okay, so as long as you haven't moved out of the lightning storm, I actually have the advantage on this attack.
It seems like the creature is banking on this cover protecting him. So, he's still hiding in there.
So that's 15 lightning damage.
Yeah, 27 definitely hits, for sure.
And then, how does spells work? Because I used my bonus action, but all my spells are bonus action right now. Can I use an action as a bonus action or not?
You can use an action to use one of the spells. Because
Okay.
I'll say that you can choose to use it as a bonus action or an action.
Okay.
Because it's very situational, so go ahead.
So in basic, you can just use 2 spells.
Yeah.
But not 2
I don't
concentration
like
spells,
because
obviously.
I don't want to blow up everything there, so I'm just gonna cast Firebolt with my tides. That's
that hits.
28, and then there's this one, which is a 6.
You're actually getting really low numbers on that chaos roll today.
So I
6.
Yeah, explain what you're
so
doing.
I just start growing, and I'm now 6 inches taller than I used to be.
So now randomly he is taller.
Yes.
And everybody can see this. Whether or not you take note of it is up to you.
Well, I was not just too focused on the danger that's in the room.
You might start to understand why I'm such a deformed slotty instead of the normal look.
He is relatively deformed looking.
But
okay.
that's my turn.
So, Alatar.
Let's keep going with the good old Eldritch Blast.
Fair enough.
God.
Well, at least you hit once.
That's the important thing.
With the natural one, you explode some of the furniture off of it, so you're just doing your magic thing where you're just swinging your hand back and forth and causing magic to happen, and one of them hits some of the furniture and explodes off, which gives you a great opportunity to hit it with the 27. So go ahead. Alright, 14.
Nice.
Alright. The creature goes... Doesn't seem too happy. But otherwise, anything else?
No, that's it for now.
Alright. Enemy turn. Let's see. Has two things in melee with it. It's ignoring the lightning, because it's depending on its cover for now. So, it's just gonna swing. It's just gonna swing.
But at who?
It's gonna pick up a weapon, and it's gonna swing. Let's see. It hasn't decided. I'm actually gonna roll. Wait, it was supposed to be a D2, but either way. So I'll just say that that's 1, which is DT.
Okay.
DT hasn't done any damage to him yet, which is why he's the lower threat at the moment, but he's still going to hit him with the weapon. So he picks up a lance with one of his appendages, swings down.
That hits.
And he actually gets a second attack since he's using melee attacks. He was using distance attacks before, which he only can use 1.
That hits as well.
Alright. Strength is pretty much all it has, so it's using its abilities to its advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And there it is.
So let's do damage. That's a 19.
And a 22.
2 minus 19. Ooh, DT is not looking too fresh. Let's see if I did it correct. Minus 19. Yeah, DT is not looking too fresh.
So he swings this lance down and hits DT in the head, and then he swings it around and guts him in the side, but he's a machine, so it just makes metallic noises each time.
Yeah, he basically nearly, past half health. He's at 24 hit points from the 65.
Wow. Alright, well, there you go. This is pretty much all it has. So, let's see. Edo-san, you witness as DT is getting hit super hard.
So he yells over to DT to just come over right to him this very instant, and then reloads the second bullet into the acid chamber, and then fires another necrotic round, which he can just conjure.
Alright, go ahead.
Let's see, where did I leave it? 26.
Alright, 26 to hit, definitely hits.
4
plus 35. It's hurting. You can hear it. It's going at this point.
Oh, I nearly forgot I add 1d6 to that. Because I forgot to add it since we're level... Wait, no, wait, nope. My bad. Level 9 was that, not level 8.
Okay. Great. So
So you're
damage
still...
dealt.
Yep. Damage
Alright.
dealt. That is 39.
I got that recorded. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Alright. Lily, you look over to DT as this hulk of metal and machinery is just pounded super hard. You hear ka-ching, ka-ching with each hit, and he's already super damaged. If you're talking, we can't hear you.
All right, cool. I'm gonna do some paladin stuff.
You know, DT isn't a living thing, right?
He's your living thing.
Yeah, so it's more like mending and such will work better on him than just cure wounds.
You know, paladin thing is just smiting things to pieces. It's not healing, just so you're aware.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to smite it. Okay, so I'm gonna attempt to hit it. The creature.
Alright. Go ahead.
I was looking for dice to roll. I don't have dice. Does a 12 hit its AC?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. Second attack. Does a 16?
16.
Hit its AC?
It still has 3/4 cover, so no.
I spit on it.
Alright. You're hitting furniture and stuff as you're trying to maneuver your axe in
Okay.
properly.
Second question. As DT is going to move out of the way, do you allow him to pick you up?
Sure.
Alright. So that's the end of her turn. DT.
Since Lily allows him to pick her up, he picks Lily up and then disengages with her.
Alright. So you use disengage, so that's good. It's not going to automatically strike.
And then moves out of the way towards Arasan.
Alright. Starts moving towards Arosan, severely damaged.
Mm-hmm. And then puts Lily down by Arasan and then just tries to defend himself, so to say.
Alright. Clicked it, but it didn't do anything. Goroth.
Okay, I'll do the lightning bolt again. Just this one. 18.
18.
Zippity zappity zap.
Since you're hitting inside the furniture, it won't. The cover won't matter. So yes, that hits.
18 lightning damage.
All right.
Oh, I have to start cooking now, so I'll be right back.
All right.
Just setting things on the fire, so I'll be right back.
All right.
And for my movement, I would like to step behind one of the covers, or is there anywhere I can take cover? I mean, on it.
You can hide behind furniture that is around it, or you can attempt to pull one away from it and hide behind it. But
Okay, no, I'll retreat further behind. Can I get back to the stairway?
yes, you can.
Okay, so I'll just stand in the stairway then. So
All right.
gonna crouch behind everyone.
All right. Fair enough. That happens. Alatar.
Oh no, actually I shoot firebolt as well because that was
Okay.
my bonus action. Just
Yeah.
normal. 23.
Yeah, 23 hits, even with the cover. All right, you hear. It's getting really, really hurt. All right, so it's Alatar's turn.
Yay.
It's up to you. What do you want to do?
I'll do what I've been doing.
All right, roll your hits. Attacks, I should say. 21 hits, 10 misses.
Of course. This is a warning shot.
Time you're just blasting furniture out of the way.
Well, it's his
And-
cover, so I gotta get
It was
normal
pretty ugly
clothes.
furniture, that's why, right?
Yeah, I don't like it. It's disgusting. It's terrible covers on it.
Yeah. You hear as it gets hit.
Cool.
Seems like it's not doing too well.
Huh?
So, enemy turn. You hear as in a last-ditch effort, it takes its appendages and takes them within, and it just sort of bursts out of the pile of furniture, throwing the furniture towards you. And I need everybody, and yes, that's everybody, because the debris is filling the room, to make dexterity saving throws.
DT gets an extra +4.
Alright,
'Cause I'm
DT
off.
has an extra +4.
You have the Paladin aura.
Mhm,
That's
that's
based
why
on
he
your
gets the +4.
charisma. Yeah, but it's for everyone within your range. Within
10
30
feet.
feet of you. Oh, 10
10
feet?
feet. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah,
how
so-
far behind DT and those are by?
You are unfortunately just out of the range of that, but I'll say that Arosan and DT are close.
Okay.
Alright, so 13, 16, 5. I need to roll for him because he's not there. Okay. He needs Dex. Where is... I don't know how this sheet works. Where's his... Says that his saves are all 0, which is weird.
For who?
For DT.
Yeah, he has an NPC cheat, not a character one, I think.
Yeah, so he has a 16, which is a +3.
Yeah, you just click the dex, not the actual saves.
I'm just gonna roll a +3 because I'm clicking it, but it's not doing anything.
Okay.
+1 D +3. Alright, so he rolls an 8.
Oh yeah, James,
Oh.
did you remember to do your HP as well?
Okay, I'm back. Hello?
Oh,
Yeah.
I need you to roll a dex save
Okay. Dex
as an
save.
Arosan. Alright.
10.
This is going to be interesting. Lily, you managed to get your shield up in time. So does DT and Arosan get a D4? Is that what they have to?
No, just a 4, straight 4.
It's a +4. It's
Okay,
based
so-
on my aura. And
Okay, so he got 14 and DT got 12. If I'm understanding that correctly.
Yeah.
Okay. So, here's what happened for Arosan's sake. The creature just huddled its appendages up into the pile and burst forward and threw a bunch of furniture and weapons and whatnot, which is what you're currently rolling the dex save for.
Okay.
Lily, you managed to get your shield up in time. Everybody else takes damage from falling debris, furniture, weapons,
Ouch.
everything. So this is one of its abilities. So everyone takes 16 damage unless if they have an ability to prevent it.
Oh boy, poor DT. He's not
when I
looking too
save,
well.
do I take half damage or no damage?
You take no damage.
10-4.
DT is nearly down and out.
Which is you haven't had him destroyed in the campaign yet, so you're not entirely sure what's going to happen.
No, well, I kind of do. He turns off, and then I can use a revivify spell
Yeah,
to
you
bring
can
him
attempt
back.
to bring him back, but
Or
You have
use
a
that.
revivify spell, because I don't have one.
Or
Yeah,
I
I
can
don't-
repair him, but that means that he has 1 hit point, and then I need to repair him even more.
yes, that's true. So, 16 damage to all those characters, and here's what's it's going to attempt to do. It has more stuff that it can do as it's running away. Due to its immense size, it is it's actually a big on the large side creature. So it is going to attempt to trample you. So as you witness this, it looks kind of like it's like I don't know how to describe it. It has a body kind of like an
It has
elephant body, and it has elephant-like legs, I guess would be the best way to describe it. They're just thick as tree trunk-like legs, and it has like 6 or 7 of those tiny little appendages coming out, sprouting out of its back, and it's just charging forward.
his movement speed is half if he can reach us.
Yeah. He can reach you, and he's going to attempt to go up the steps.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
his
but if he
movement
tries to trample Arasan, he
movement
does.
speed half for his entire movement, or
Mhm.
just for the little area where the lightning storm is?
Let me check it again.
Yeah, because that's important for this particular section.
So yeah, from what I can read here, it's a 20-foot radius. So it would basically be 40 if I targeted like at the table or something.
Mhm.
So 40 feet of difficult terrain.
Okay, so the radius is 20 feet. So yeah, 40 feet. Okay, so he manages to get to you guys, and then he gets to the stairway, and he will get onto the next floor with this
But you said
movement.
he was gonna try and trample us to get there.
Yeah, so that way he doesn't take opportunity attacks. He's going to use his ability to just knock you out of the way, basically. So Dex saving throws from everybody, because everybody's in his way.
Oh boy. DT, please make it. 15, thank God. Oh
right.
God. Oh, I was on 17. Nice. But yeah,
Alright.
DT is not gonna just take that. No, he's gonna strike back since Alsan was attacked.
Yes. He's
So
going to.
left hook.
You can try, but his ability prevents you if you don't save. So you have to determine whether or not you save first.
Yeah, DT has a 15. I was on a 17.
Yeah. So what I'm getting here is everyone except Goroth saves. So what happens is Goroth, because I'm going to assume that he gets that far,
Yep.
is going to take.
I also had to roll one of these earlier. I forgot that, but I keep the lightning storm.
Yeah. Easily done. Goroth, you take 13 damage.
Yep.
And as he tramples you, everyone else manages to get just far enough out of its way as it's rampaging past. So everyone else gets opportunity attacks
So
as it rushes past,
DT gives it a left hook.
which is 22.
And Arasan is going to try and.
You need a melee weapon to hit
Yep,
it.
I do. I have an axe, and that chops right into his leg.
All right. 23 hits, 30 hits. Wow, 30. 17 hits. Actually, you can't roll Eldritch Blasts on opportunity attack. You can only use a melee attack. So
Which is
Alatar
true.
has to hit it with some sort of melee attack. Alright. 13 misses, unfortunately. So I got 11 and 12.
How's it doing on my attack? Because if it's not down, I'm gonna do something.
Okay. So as it rushes past, it sort of stumbles up the steps and then collapses on the upper floor.
I failed the save because it's basically laying on top of me.
No, you're not. You're not. It's not on top of you. It's
Oh,
at
okay.
the top of the stairway. You're at the bottom. You got trapped.
I thought it died. It died, right?
It fell. It's fallen down, motionless.
Okay.
So do we think it's... You know what? Screw this. I'm gonna go up to it, double tap. Whack.
All
Good
right,
thing.
Go ahead.
I am gonna check my cooking stuff downstairs.
All right. Sure thing. Yeah, 24 hits a motionless large beast.
All lethal damage.
All right. 5. You're just slashing into it, and
Cool.
it's getting cut.
It's dead, Jim. Yes?
Yeah. It's dead. I'll say. So it's
Right.
laying on the ground.
I tried to
And-
inspect it closer now that it's dead.
All right, you move closer to it, and you have a look at it. You notice that there are vapors coming off of it. This was a shadow creature.
I tried to determine what sort of creature it is, because earlier I hadn't seen it. If I can try again now that I actually have seen it.
Okay.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
James and I are gonna have to go really soon.
Okay. So we'll just try to clean up the rest of this little area, and then we'll end, if that's possible.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So you look at the creature, make a nature check.
Before I look at it, I'm gonna turn myself to another Kokra,
Okay, that happens.
so I can get advantage. Six.
You aren't sure what this thing is.
And 6 again. Let's see how much I...
Is that the growth one? So you're
Yeah,
growing
grow 2
again?
more inches.
Wow. How long does that last? Forever?
Forever.
Wow. So you're just growing. Soon you'll be a large creature eventually. All right. So anybody else want to look at this thing? It's a shadow creature at the moment, but you're not sure what's going to happen once it recovers. So what do you want to do?
Do we want to get out or do we want to keep having me hit it? Because she'll go to town all day.
I mean, it seems like the shadow is dissipating from it.
Yeah, so whatever creature it was before is going to appear, but
Okay.
you don't know what that is, unless if you make a roll.
Think my character would know that because my character just kind of came out of nowhere into a void.
Fair enough. So Erosom might want to do something, but he's not here. What about Alatar? What is your suggestion to the party?
Eventually it's gonna come back. We don't know what it's gonna be.
I mean, you all have seen the, kill us, yeah, how would say, kill them to make them better. It's basically that.
That's basically what probably we should do.
Can hear you.
Sure, how the would say kill it.
Uh, There is something else that everyone seems to be ignoring. It's the pile of furniture and weapons. There might be something there that might be of interest. So there's that option as well.
I'm busy studying the creature. Anyone else can go
Um,
for the pile.
I
I'm gonna
rolled
get
a
the pile.
1, not in that one for investigation.
All right. You look through the pile. It's just a bunch of junk mostly. There's a few extra weapons that you might want to take. Longsword, though they're all damaged, partially. You
While
can
I'm
take-
digging through this stuff, I'm gonna yell like, "Garbage and trash! Nothing! Hey, everybody, find something good, give me!"
Alright. So, Alatar, you're getting the same thing. It's mostly just broken furniture. But there are, again, weapons. Mostly lances and longswords, because that's mostly what Aarakocra use.
Okay, something I need.
Nothing too important, but at the bottom of the pile, you start to get into bones.
There's bones in the trash. Okay.
Yeah, they're hollow bones as well.
Hollow bones. Does that mean anybody?
You have a feeling that the bird creatures that this thing defeated, these are probably the remnants. So pulled them into this area, and then built a den for itself out of the materials that were in the place, and just ate them probably.
Okay. Just remnant.
Back again.
So
Okay.
Adosan, the creature. Not to cut Alatar off. Were you want to do anything with those bones?
No, not that I can think of.
Okay. So you know that they're there. So you might want to report that to your allies on topside when you get up there.
Mhm.
Um,
But yeah, the creature.
yeah, the creature is on the ground. It's a shadow creature, and it's recovering.
Okay.
As it's recovering, like I'm preparing to. I'll ask you guys. Do anyone know how long this takes?
What?
If any one of you knows how long it takes, because you've seen this several times.
Well, they did say that it took a few hours. Well, it depends on the size. Others it takes just a few moments, other a few hours or a few minutes.
Okay, that's pretty much a lie from you, so it's probably deception.
Well, you can attempt to roll insight on him if you want.
Oh,
Sure.
I'm not lying. I was just trying to remember
Yes,
what
but
he's seen before.
yes, but Goroth doesn't know that, so Goroth can roll insight if he wants.
Yeah, sure. 10.
All right. So, Ado-san, if you're telling the truth, it's persuasion. If you're not, then it's deception, and if you're attempting to intimidate him, it's intimidation. So go ahead.
Persuasion, because he's just basically telling the truth.
So go ahead. That's performance.
Oh,
So you do a little jig, and then
just clicked above it. Yeah, no, I failed that one.
so you can see right through him. He is being as honest as possible.
Hey guys,
Okay.
I gotta go.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So
Makes-
we'll get you filled in. I'm gonna try to clean up any
Okay.
thing on this, but
Uh,
we'll fill you in.
Kill things.
All right.
Bye.
That's my brother returning home. So he wants to have dinner soon, so I have to be gone again for a few moments soon.
Okay. So we're gonna try to clean this up and end off.
Just a few moments, I will be coming back. Don't worry about that.
Okay. So
So I'm just trying to look for this creature to see if, like, I'm preparing to cast detect thoughts when it wakes up.
So let me just serve dinner, so to say. And
okay.
Alison just loads up his last barrel, readies it, and fixes DT a bit up with mending.
Okay. Mending takes 10 minutes, by the way.
A minute, actually.
Or a minute, sorry.
So yeah.
Yeah, you can
tries-
cast it once, so I'll say that he regains 30 hit points.
Okay, that's a good thing. Okay, I will be serving dinner then. Be right back again.
Alright. So, what we're gonna get to is the creature recovering, and that's probably as far as we're gonna get. But we'll see. We have been going for 9 to 10, 11, 12. We've been going for a little over 3 hours, I think. So
Yeah.
that's decent, I guess. But let's see. Okay. The creature begins to recover. I'll just get it out, and if anybody wants to figure out what happened, they can rewatch it, or we'll fill them in later.
Yeah.
So the creature recovers, and as the shadow begins dissipating off of it, you start looking at it, and it doesn't look like this creature could be a living creature.
It looks dead.
Yeah, it looks like the tendrils are stitched on. The coloration of the skin seems rotten. And the digits on the appendages seem stitched on as well. It seems like someone took the body of an elephant and cut the head off the elephant. Like you can even see like the neck stump sort of sewed up. And it just looks like elephant body, elephant legs that are attached to each other naturally, with stitched on appendages. So it doesn't seem to have a face or anything discernible as a face. So you're not sure what this thing is.
Okay, so with all that
In
information, I'm
another
gonna.
room, so she can't even help you with that for the moment.
So if it looks like that, I'm probably gonna make sure it doesn't wake up then.
Alright, it starts recovering, and you see that the shadow is gone off of it. And since you were using Detect Thoughts, you get from it food, hunger. That's what you get from it.
Something I would expect from an undead.
Probably.
So I'm gonna banish it. Let's make a charisma save.
Okay. It definitely has low charisma, considering what it is. So negative. Right. Whoops, these are d6s. That is not.
I'll take that number.
I would too, but it's not a d20, so it's the same number. So,
Told you.
I assume it's going to fail.
Yes.
All right. So it starts to get up a little bit as you just point your finger at it, and it goes, and it's gone. You're not sure where it went, because apparently this isn't its home plane. So the spell dictates that it automatically goes to its home plane unless if it's already on that.
Yeah.
So, you're not sure where it went. It's just gone.
You won't be killing the people here at least.
So it's gone. And I guess that's where we'll finish up.
Yeah, I'll just shoot up a message to the Kokra, because I have a lot of range on that. 120 feet, I believe. Yeah.
120, so 50 plus 50 is 100. So yeah, you can reach them.
So yeah, I just send them that we dealt with the threat.
Do you inform them that their allies that were stationed here are probably dead?
Yeah, I'll inform them that we didn't find any survivors.
All right, you do get a response, and it's the same guy because you're searching for the same guy's mind
Yeah.
because you have a camaraderie with him. And he says, "Unfortunate, but expected. Thank you for your help." And that's what he says to you.
Yeah. That seems like an end of a conversation, so...
Yeah.
Done.
All right, so we'll say that we'll end it off there, and we'll fill the other guys in later.
Yep.
Giovanni will come back to nobody being here. Unless if you want to stay in there until he comes back and just say, we're going now. But I'm going to be probably going. So, we'll...
Yeah, I'll probably go too, because it's... Or